Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Glan, Gors, North Wales. And what a beautiful venue it is for motorsport. Here we are then for round 2 of the Kart Championship. My name is Joe Bradley. An unfamiliar voice, though, but a very familiar voice to the karting world joins me this weekend. And I'm delighted to have alongside me to chat about, well, all sorts probably, Henry Baudet. Henry, welcome to Wales.
Thank you so much,
Not
Joe.
that you've been very far away from Wales.
It's an absolute pleasure to, number one, be home, and number two, be sat with you, and number three, being in this paddock. It's a championship that I've watched from afar, and I've known Darren for a long time. I think it's fantastic what he's done. I've been wandering around the paddock just briefly today. The atmosphere, lots of smiling faces, lots of people going from awning to awning or like gazebo to gazebo to help each other out, and that's I like that. I like that.
That struck me. So we Karting Live TV, new to this series, and that's what struck me. It's a junior championship.
Yes,
we've got age range from 6 to 16, quite literally.
Yep,
and the atmosphere in the paddock is as it should be.
Exactly.
It's all about the kids.
Yes, it is.
And we can sometimes become a bit intense about our racing, can't we?
Well, yeah, you're right, and I think that the racing is going to be intense because there's lots of very, very good drivers here, lots of very professional setups. There's lots of independents, privateers, families, out here competing. So the racing is going to be just as intense as you'd normally expect it. But it's the laughter in the paddock and the joviality. I mean, we say that we haven't started racing yet, but
yes.
no, that's what It's,
I know you mean. It's a very friendly atmosphere, and like you said, you see people helping each other out. And because it's about the kids.
Yes.
It's about getting everybody out on track. And out on track we go.
Indeed.
With our Honda Cadets. I've got the grid in front of us.
The first race.
I'll quickly run through. So we've had timed qualifying.
Yep.
We'll go into the format of the event once we get things running. We're out on track at the moment. So pole position in time qualifying, which was in a very mixed track condition. And as we saw there, still a little bit mixed track condition with a couple of karts off. So Kevin Ivanov put his kart on pole position with a 53.914. Current British champion Ryan White, he's alongside with a 54.3. Second row is Archie Cannon and Archie Loveridge. Two Archies on row 2. Row 3, Magiris Kavekis and Ed Spain. Riley Blakemore and Cian Sullivan are on row 4. Row 5, Elliot Bork and Luke McGall. Ella Dixon and Ronnie Smart share row 6. Row 7, Tyler Banks and Ralphie Branscombe. Row 8 is Albie Smith and Jack Wykes. Ollie Knox and Ashton Horsepool on row 9. Row 10, Daniel Barton and Luke Jardine. Ricky McIntosh and Jan Prakash are on row 11. Noah Clark and Finlay Thursfield are on row 12. And then we've got row 13, Harley Bradbury Stretton, Jacob Letherby, Oliver Ratton, Otto Amy, Freddie Budd, Sophie Morris, Rebecca Ristall, James Pearson, Jerry DeFissy and Reggie DeFissy round off the grid. Standing start, of course, for Honda Cadets, Henry.
Of course,
I think I forgot that bit there.
I
was hurrying through, thinking we're going to get a rolling start.
Well, no, I mean, and a full grid as well, 34 drivers. The one thing that I noticed that I like a lot of are the novice drivers. A lot of novice drivers, the black plates and the white numbers. And that tells me that this championship is giving these drivers a chance to race around, the country at the very start of their karting career, which is obviously very, very important. You support your local track, your local club,
yes.
your local championship, but then you want to branch out. You want high level competition, but still retain that the happy atmosphere. That's what I'm good to see. There's plenty of novices. You can see just a couple there towards the back, but one or two of them I noticed on the grid there that are actually much higher up in front of some of more experienced drivers. You can get Noah Clark there on row number 12, for example, ahead of
Jane Prakash.
Jane Prakash, on row
ahead.
11. That's 17 rows of karts, and it's a standing start. And
I do like these. I do like these standing starts. Harks back to my car heritage, doesn't it?
Yes.
Standing starts. Red lights go on, and we'll actually get a view of the red lights from our grid cam. The green flag waves at the back of the grid. And we've got a great view there from our grid cam, I'm going to call that. I've just christened that the grid cam, Henry. So basically, red lights go on. Oh, that's a bit of a confusing start there. Red lights went on and immediately went off. I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure really what that was, but the starter has got them underway, Henry, and we're already heading up to that top corner.
Yeah, this is Dragon Straight, of course, being a proper Welsh circuit name, up the top of the hill towards Spoon Curve. And the leaders there, the number 50 kart of pole sitter Kevin Ivanov, looks to have things under control. Coming down the hill, single file, drivers looking over their shoulder. But I think, we certainly have got to start. One driver at the top of the circuit there has... sadly spun it, and having come in this morning, there's a lot of rain has been about, as been the case all over the UK for seemingly months on end. But now we're down into Compression Corner, Devil's Elbow, and at the end of lap number 1, Kevin Ivanov, that is, a perfect first lap from Ivanov. Ryan White tucked right in behind him, wearing the number 1 plate, so the reigning British champion. Cannon and Kvetchis, Archie Loveridge, Ed Spain, Riley Blakemore, and Riley Blakemore and Expert Joe. Yeah, this is what we're going to see a lot of. Honda racing, 4-stroke, plenty of slipstreaming, plenty of drafting, and a really good way to sort of start your career off in how to control a kart.
What I know about Ryan White is I don't think we will see any kind of attempt at the lead here. Ryan is clever enough and experienced enough to realise that if he starts squabbling with Kevin Ivanov, they are going to fall back towards the karts behind them. And typically behind them, from 3rd place down to what looks like 20th, we've got a train of cadets as we normally have. And he's in fact, if anything, Henry, Ivanov has found some pace there, and he's pulled a bit of a gap there as they went through turn 1 to complete 2 laps and on to lap 3. Yeah,
down Dragon Straight, and it's a 7-minute plus 1 lap race. You can see the yellow flag wave, sort of stationary waving flag here up at Spoon Curve. The 50 kart there, everyone's saying single file and overtaking, and that is because you've got the I couldn't quite see the number on the kart that was out of the race. I think it might have been the number 58. The 20. Ollie Knox and Finley Thursfield seem to have had an issue. But, single file, because, of course, the other thing we haven't mentioned, Joe, is the weather. Do we dare say the R word? It's dry at the moment, but we've had 4 seasons in one day already.
We really have. We were just setting up the day, and we've experienced hot sunshine, literally hot sunshine, burning me face, and then it went to snow.
Yes.
Literally, flakes of snow. Then it went to hail. Then we've had a bit of light rain. Then we had a bit of heavy rain. Then it went back to bright sunshine, all in the space of 15 minutes.
Or as we call it in Wales, Saturday morning. But now you can see Ryan White.
He's come back at him.
Caught back up a little bit, and those chasing pack there, 4 drivers, that's Cannon, Kvetchis, Loveridge and Spain. They all know what the game is. They don't want to battle either because...
I was going to say, because they're doing exactly that, aren't they? They are working together, and look at that, Henry. They're working together and coming back towards those 2 leaders. They can see them ahead of them, of course, and the bright green helmet there, that's Archie Cannon. He's leading that train of cadets, and look at that, 4 karts there working together, and the gap to Ryan White is coming down.
Yeah, because, of course, the chasing pack knows that if White challenges Ivanov, and the 2 leaders go side by side, and we're looking now side by side for 3rd, and that was Marjoris Kvetchis having a little look at the inside of Archie Cannon, and Cannon sort of moved across to say no, like, let's stay in line.
Yeah.
They know. And that was that the leader, or was that second place? It was the leader running very wide. Ivanov running wide up at Spoon Curve there, and that's Ryan White into the lead. Is that because there was a few spots of rain? I can't quite see, but it was a strange way to run wide.
Well, I suppose it is easy up at Spoon, isn't it? You go over a rise, and you can easily go too deep into what is a 180-degree curve. It is a hairpin, but it's a sweeping hairpin, isn't it? You carry a lot of speed through there.
Yes.
But he just went wide, didn't he? And you're possibly right there with a few spots of rain.
But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, certainly now we'll see if White, looking over his shoulder as the race boils down, you're going to see more and more and more of this. Drivers looking over their shoulders to try and plan a defensive manoeuvre. The other drivers trying to plan an attacking manoeuvre. And also, as you can see there, Ivanov almost just gives a little bit of a peck on the cheek, as it were, to the rear bumper of Ryan White's kart. And there's a move from Cannon to the inside into the carousel, but can't quite pull it off.
Cannon, he's got that second place in his sights now. just moving up. He's dropped out a little bit, and that's the ebb and flow of cadet karting. Is so easy to see. You can get onto the rear bumper of the kart ahead of you, and the moment you step out of line, a bit like NASCAR actually, the moment you step out of line, you end up dropping back, and that, we've dropped back 2 karts lengths after just one attempt.
Yeah, if the race boils down to it, if you get a big pack, it's like the Tour de France, the peloton,
Yes.
you get cycled out, you get pushed out wide, and then you get shuffled to the back, you can call it getting freight trained.
Here we go then. Ivanov, he's lost that second place. He'll be kicking himself. I'm not sure if that was a little sort of helmet tap from Ryan White, saying, we all know what that means. It means, let me lead this race, and you just follow me, and then we'll pull a bit of a lead.
Yeah, let's all play nice. It very rarely seems to work.
No, you know what? I've seen drivers sort of do that and agree to that, and then you're kind of boiling down to the last 90 seconds, which we're inside of, by the way. So all bets are off, all deals are off. Now we're running to that checkered flag, and everybody's wanting to gather points to get them up the grid for the superheats.
And of course, you're down to a leading group of 5: White, Ivanov, Cannon, Spain, and Kvetskis. So Riley Blakemore, Archie Loveridge, Cian Sullivan, and the rest have sort of fallen away a little bit. But there's Archie Cannon, and now he is right there on the rear bumper of the number 50 kart, the pole sitter Ivanov, as they head down the hill towards the carousel. And is that the bright blue turquoise Ambition Motorsport livery kart of Ed Spain is next. But yeah, we're down to 30 seconds, and this is where the drivers will start positioning themselves. They're coming up on some slower traffic as well. Maybe one or two of the drivers that have had a spin. One of the novices, that could be Reggie Dufissi. And you see the blue flag being waved there, but 20 seconds to go. Dufissi will need to get out of the way. But
they're going to do that up the hill, aren't they? They just tore by him. Up that hill. There's quite an undulating track here at Gors, isn't it? There's quite a level change, isn't there? Up at the highest point there at Spoon, and now they pretty much plunge down the hill, back down the hill towards the infield. What's this corner called?
This is called the carousel.
The carousel. It's a beautiful sweeping left hand. It goes on and on. It reminds me of the carousel at Road America.
Yeah, I think it's not quite the carousel at the Nordschleife.
No, not quite.
But one thing that Wales could never be accused of is being flat and featureless.
Never.
And, there's another. That's the number 75. That's James Pearson, sort of not getting in the way, but he couldn't get out of the way. Because that downhill section through Devil's Elbow and Compression Corner, it's basically single file racing, and it did cost the 4th and 5th drivers, Spain and Kvetskis, a little bit of time.
Well, Ryan White took the win in the final at Wilton Mill in round 1. He's leading here in the first of the heats. These 2 heats define the grid for the super heats, which then defines the grid for the final. And Ryan White being the man to beat, starting off as he finished off at Wilton Mill. He's got back markers that may come into play, but the back marker very heads up driving there from that. So Ivanov still in second there, the number 50, right on the rear bumper though, as they go through. I love these sweeps and turns. This is a very technical bit of racetrack. It's so easy to make a mistake there, but no mistakes from Ryan White, Henry, as he comes through the final turn. And it's checkered flag time.
Yeah, a smart drive. Ivanov maybe didn't show all his cards just yet. As you can see, the rest of the field 3 wide across the line. I think it was Albie Smith, Luke McGill, and Ricky McIntosh Jr. It just shows Joe how competitive it is. All these young drivers. Seen some of the novices going a lap down, but that's to be sort of expected when you start out against this level of competition. But this track is a real tester as well.
It really is.
You mentioned the technical sections, the downhill section, which the kart's got to be turning in, cleanly. You can't be bogging down. But then you've got the fast first section, and you've got the very sort of like flowing middle section as well. So you've got,
It's very flowing, isn't it? There's not really a really slow part of this track.
No, because even the downhill section where the corners are quite tight because of the camber and the elevation changes, they're quicker than you think.
It is a very quick, very very quick lap here, and it's very technical, which is how I would describe this track. So let's have a rundown. First 10 in the first 8 for Honda Cadets. Ryan White takes the win. Kevin Ivanov glued to his rear bumper in second. Archie Cannon third. Ed Spain came second at Wilton Mill's final last month. He came fourth. Magiris Kvetskis was fifth. Archie Loveridge was sixth. Seventh was Riley Blakemore. Cian Sullivan eighth. Ninth was Albie Smith. And Luke McGall rounds off the top 10. Have we got time to run down? We've got them on the screen there if you're watching at home. That's your 33 kart field there and how they finished in Heat 1.
But what I noticed there, I mean, obviously the families and the friends can look at the names that they're listed, but how many drivers do you have finishing there? With 31 of the 33. A couple of spinners on the opening lap, but then after that, everybody, was well behaved. A couple of spins and a lot of good experience gained. Always,
yes. A lot of experience of each other as well at the front.
Yes,
wasn't it? Ivanov, he will know Ryan White well.
Yep.
And when I say no, I mean track behaviour. Track body language, if you like.
Can I trust him?
Refer to that. Yes.
Can I trust
him when he taps his helmet and says, "Let me"?
Yeah. or
possibly not.
But I mean, for Kevin Ivanov, I mean, just looking at the 17th in the final at Wilton Mill, and of course this is the second round of a 5-round series, and every point matters. But I mean, you're going to get heat points, you're going to get pre-final points, or is that the super heat points and then the final points? You've got three sets of points that you could get over the course of the weekend championship points.
I have a screen. I have a screen for you, Henry.
Oh.
I have a screen for you. So this is the regulations.
3 championship points.
3 championship point scoring opportunities per weekend. So points earned in the Saturday heats will count towards the first heat classification. So so heat 1 and heat 2,
yes,
you form the grid for the super heats. You will get points for how you finish.
Okay, yes, where
or
you
how
are
that grid lines up, where you are on that grid.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yes.
Same for the super heats.
Yep.
So 2 super heats.
Yep.
And then points awarded for where you are on the grid for the final.
So
and then double points for the final.
Double points.
Yeah.
Consistency pays off, in the long term. But here we go. Then this is Junior Primo. So this is the Junior Rotax class for the under 14 and under on the full size chassis. 17 drivers on the grid. Bella Fairclough is your pole sitter alongside Daniel Hartree. Then you've got Ellis Dealey and Maya Simpson. Alfie Forrester, great performance from the novice there on the third row of the grid alongside Leighton Kelly. Oh dear. And that's the number 14 kart, Sophia Caldwell, who is exploring the Welsh nature. Oh dear. The rest of the field, very quickly, Alfie Forrester, Leighton Kelly, Tyler Davis, Zach Kane, and there's another driver there, number 79, Ethan Barth and Ewan Stevenson, Thomas Butcher, Eddie Stewart, Oscar Pitt, Sophia Caldwell, Laurie McVie, Jack Johnson, and Riley Mason-Lewis. Alfie Forrester was the number 79 kart,
he's the novice.
Who was a novice who qualified very well. And Sophia Caldwell, I think there's certainly Forrester at the back of the screen there, but hopefully will catch back up. Forrester. Well, he's not on the black plate, so I'm not quite sure if the end plate was full, but we're underway.
Bella Fairclough was our driver of the day at Wilton Mill. She had some fabulous drives. Didn't do very well in this time qualifying, so we witnessed Bella Fairclough coming through the field on more than one occasion. I think we've got a false start.
Yeah, judging by the way they're still warming their tyres and going slowly.
Yes, that was a bit. I was thinking that's a bit arrogant, leading the race and showboarding.
Yeah, I think that might be a chance to give Caldwell and Forrester a chance to catch back up if indeed Caldwell has managed to extricate her go-kart from the scenery.
Yeah, of course. It was the false start was called because we were sorting out those couple of karts off track, of course. So we look like we've got the grid formed. Hopefully those 2 karts that were in trouble on that warm-up lap will be able to get at least onto the back of the grid.
Yep.
And looks nicely formed, isn't it? A nicely formed grid is something we all like to see.
Yes.
And that just there from our camera angle, Henry, just shows how tight and technical that part of this track is, just coming towards the end of the lap. Here they go then. Let's even get this underway again. That's a lovely shot. We've got the red lights go out. And again, is that a race start? It is showing a race start.
I think there was at least 1 or 2 drivers with their hands in the air, but it certainly looks like we've gone. So maybe those drivers were a little bit presumptive in their assumptions that the start was not good. But it's the number 15 from Bella Fairclough, that very striking liveried yellow kart with the blue, the two-tone blue race suit. Oh, two-tone. There we go. Let's get me started on two-tone. But she's leading the field and leading it impressively, Joe.
Yeah, great start from Bella, who this time has gotten to where she wants to be. We saw her drive through the field a few times at Wilton Mill. Well, her qualifying was a lot better this time here at Gors. And she looks like, once again, the driver to beat here. Daniel Hartley second, Ellis Dealey third, Maya Simpson fourth. It's Tyler Davis, Ewan Stevenson, Ethan Bath, Zach Kane, Thomas Butcher and Eddie Stewart. Eddie may even be joining us in the commentary box over the course of the weekend. But Eddie rounding off the top 10 there.
Always great to get drivers to come in and give their thoughts, because they're out there. We can talk about it, Joe, but they're the ones actually out there doing it. And it's also, it's great training for them. Great media training. Stick a mic in front of their nose, right, go. Don't swear or pick your nose. Off you go. Eddie's
joined us in the box a few times in a couple of series, and he's far too good for my liking. Right. Far too good. Well, we are future planning. Here we go, the challenge for the lead, is it?
Yep.
Through turn one and up towards Spoon. Yes, very much so. Daniel Hartley to the inside, and that's a pretty textbook move there. You've got to get the move done before that right-hander, haven't you? Because that's a sweeping entry into that hairpin at the top of the hill.
Yeah, you don't want to be going side by side up the hill through turn number 2 because I've seen it many a time. The tyre barrier is there and waiting to collect any driver that is offline. So you've got such a fast straight. Then you've got the one-line corner up the hill, then, of course, you can dive up the inside. The Spoon Curve is a great overtaking opportunity. But Hartley and Fairclough, they have put a significant gap on the rest of the field. And that's as you go through Paddock Bend, or Clubhouse Corner now they called it.
Clubhouse Corner.
Clubhouse Corner, yes, Clubhouse Corner. Since Eddie Davis and the owners and the family built the clubhouse, they thought, well, may as well name a corner after.
Great idea. It is a great clubhouse. Actually.
It's a very impressive edifice.
Very nice cafeteria as well. Very nice coffee. We had a beautiful chicken wrap here. At lunchtime. You just missed that, Henry.
I did miss that, but that's fair. I'm on a diet.
It looked very well for it. Daniel Hartley, I think, was just kind of waiting for his tyres to come in, wasn't he? You could see that. Once those tyres got up to that optimum temperature and pressure, he made the move on Bella, and if anything, there across the line, 0.6 of a second there going into lap 5, 4 laps completed, and Bella dropping away. Let's have a look and see if we can, James, what's happening behind the two leaders. That's a beautiful shot, mind.
Oh, yeah.
Coming across the crest there.
And it really goes, you can see just how sort of skew-if the karts are getting. The driver's really fighting it.
Because that's a braking zone, isn't it? So you're actually on the brake, over the brow.
Coming up,
So your rear axle's locked up already. And that, for us, we're in the entertainment business, and I find those pictures very entertaining.
Yeah, and great work here from the Karting Live TV crew here to show how hard the drivers are working on the steering. This is the battle for third and fourth. You've got the Tony kart there with the green and white NASA panel. That's Maya Simpson with a red crash helmet, very Schumacher-esque crash helmet design.
Yeah.
And then that's far too bright for this time of day. That's the number 83 of Tyler Davis. Now they're passing the stricken kart of Leighton Kelly, who I think has gone off there, the number 78. I think we've also lost Thomas Butcher from the action as well. This is a good scrap for third and fourth with the fifth place driver, Ethan Bath. Just see him there with a very bright yellow liveried kart coming through your screens very briefly there. He's keeping a watching brief on these two, but those yellow rear bumpers, they're to make sure that they're to help the other drivers.
Yeah, they're there
don't
to be
hit
seen.
Me. You can't say that you didn't see me coming.
Kind of see that you can target that from space, to be honest. And then let's just catch the back end of Tyler Davis. Tyler Davis was challenging Maya Simpson. However, Tyler now seeming to have settled back, just following her into Spoon over the brow there. And now plunging straight back down the hill, descending towards the carousel. I do like this corner. I've never driven this track, Henry, and I really need to because it looks absolutely fabulous. I love a track that goes up and down as well as left and right, and this one certainly does. Question is, can Tyler Davis now find a way back at Maya Simpson? Maya seems to be fighting that kart through that section. What's those switchbacks called?
Yeah, so the first one is called Devil's Elbow, and the second one is called Compression Corner, because that's what it does to your spine.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes,
it really does. Yeah.
And a lot of the drivers, it's like riding a roller coaster. Where you go over there, suddenly there's your stomach sort of like rises up into your diaphragm a little bit. They say it really is like that. directional and the
and you
elevation
do feel
changes.
a compression
Yeah,
there.
you absolutely do. So this is turns 5 and 6 here, beginning the descent. Now there's Devil's Elbow.
Yeah.
And then so it's a double jointed elbow, and this is compression corner because you drop down and then suddenly the circuit flattens out a little bit. But it's certainly the battle for third is heating up. Tyler Davis looking a little bit more comfortable, especially out of the last corner.
Yeah.
Maya Simpson seems to be the back end seems to be wandering around a little bit.
She's certainly fighting the cart she's certainly fighting the cart on the brakes there over the brow into Spoon. Now down the hill, but she's certainly fighting it through the switchback of Devil's Elbow and the compression. However, she seems to have a lot of speed through turn 1 and up the hill, and then this is where she's having to hang on to the cart. And this is where Tyler Davis. The thing is, this is a one-line track through this section.
Yeah.
So once you're in front here, it's going to be very difficult for someone to pass you before you get to this point here, which is where the start-finish line is.
If you can force the driver in front of you to defend going into the downhill section, then it does open up occasional opportunities. As they pass a back marker there. I think that's Leighton Kelly, who's been off and has come back on. And they weren't too far away at one point from Bella Fairclough in second, but Bella's now opened up a 7-second lead over this. But this is the best battle. And Maya Simpson clipping the inside curb halfway around the carousel. And certainly does look as though Tyler Davis looks like he's got the faster kart, but Maya Simpson's got that all-important track position.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing catching a kart, it's another thing overtaking that kart. As we get the one-lap board, we'll drift away from this one towards the end of the lap and try and pick up Daniel Hartley, who has been the kart to beat. He's got 1.2 seconds on second place Bella Fairclough, who was a full 8.3 seconds up the road. So we're going to struggle to tear ourselves away from this because I don't want to leave this. We'll leave Daniel Hartley off in the lead and we'll follow this to the flag, I think, James, because this could go anywhere, really.
Yeah, I think 1.3 seconds. Hartley, he's far enough. There's a move. You could see you could just started to sort of ask a couple of questions.
Yes, he did. He was beginning to get a little bit impatient. He knew it was one lap to go board, and this will be the checkered flag board that these drivers see. Daniel Hartley takes the win in fine style. Bella Fairclough there with the fastest lap of the race right there at the very end. She came second, only 1.2 seconds off the rear bumper of Daniel Hartley. It was Maya Simpson that clung on to that third place. Undoubtedly, Tyler Davis, I think if he could clear her, he may have pulled away because he looked like he had better pace. But Maya Simpson drove absolutely fabulously and made it very, very hard indeed.
Yeah, Maya Simpson is not 10 seconds slower than the race winner Daniel Hartley, but she was driving accordingly there. The last couple of laps they dropped away because Simpson was... she was only the one real defensive manoeuvre that we saw, but the rest of the time she was just covering her line and being very, very careful.
Yeah, she had to be.
But
so behind Tyler Davis in fourth, Ethan Bath was in fifth. Eddie Stewart. Eddie must have had a bit of a nightmare in that very tricky track condition that he had in time qualifying because he's come up from the grid. In fact, I've got rid of the grid there. Eddie Stewart was in 14th.
Yeah.
So a little bit, 12th for Eddie. So he's moved. He got up the order. He got up to 6th there at the end. He'll be happy with that. Ewan Stevenson 7th. Zach Kane 8th. At 9th was Alfie Forrester. Laurie McVeigh was 10th. 11th was Riley Mason-Lewis. 12th was Oscar Pitt. Ellis Daly was 13th. The last of the finishers, Jack Johnson. And, of course, we saw how we lost Leighton Kelly on lap 8 and Thomas Butcher very, very early on lap 3.
Yeah, disappointing for Ellis Daly. Second in the final at Wilton Mill. Second in the point standings coming into this. And Ellis started quite a ways up the order. We didn't see what happened to Ellis. But... he's not out there. He fell down the order, and sadly, Sophia Caldwell, who we saw going off on the rolling lap, didn't quite get back on, and so she was a non-starter eventually. But good news is for Sophia is that she's got better tyres now for the second one. So every cloud's got a silver lining, and there are some clouds. And just looking out of our commentary box window, Joe.
It's a spit of rain, isn't it?
Yeah, there's an umbrella or three going up.
There it is.
In the paddock.
There's the telltale drop of rain on the camera lens. and that's the one up at the Spoon.
Yes.
So he's on high ground.
So yeah. So you've got all our Coma C50 Bambinos sitting on the grid, and they would be on. Well, the Bambinos are all on treaded tyres.
Yeah, they're
anyway.
they're on treaded tyre. It's Scotty on the camera at Spoon. It's Paul who's on the gantry there, bringing us pictures of the collecting area. And it's Mr. Anonymous, our grid cam, looking up the grid.
And I have to say, our two camera guys out there are now thinking, did I pack my my cagoule? Have I got my waterproofs on?
Can I get away with standing with an umbrella whilst I do this?
Yeah, because it's not warm either. And we are on the side of a mountain here, up in the foothills of the Snowdonia National Park, the Snowdonia Mountain Range, up here in North Wales. I want to ask you to say, we're Caerddrygian is where we are.
Well, I was tempted to have you do a dual. You know the way you've done before. I've heard you do some European stuff.
Yes,
where you're the English, but bizarrely, Henry, you're the English-speaking commentator.
And I struggle with English.
But I thought about we could do a Welsh and English thing. And you could do
that'd be fantastic.
Would that be a first?
That would be a first. Yeah. My Welsh isn't up to scratch.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, I say Rydymyn Hoffi, Rydymyn Hoffi go cartio. Henry Baudet, Joe Bradley Adui. That's yeah.
I like that. I like that. I think I knew what you said. We've released our Bambinos, so let's have a quick look at the grid for these. Ernie Wade, our pole position driver. Now, Ernie Wade, I'm just looking where Ernie was. He wasn't anywhere in the top 10 at round one. So we'll move on. So Ernie Wade, driver to watch.
Yep.
Noah Wilco came third in the final at Wilton Mill. He's alongside on the front row. Second row is Arthur Bowers and Ollie West. We've got Arlo Gamble and Jesse Bailey on row 3. Row 4 is Will Wainwright and Lewis Wilson. Logan Hodgetts and Calman Simon are on row 5. Henry Hills and Hendrix Fallat are on row 6. Riley Aston Wilkins and John Stevens are on row 7. Row 8 is Wraith Owen and Jack Swong. Row 9 is Freddie Purnell and Nauman Faizan. Row 10 is Max Armit and Max St. Hilaire. And then row 11, rounding off the 22 kart field, is Santo Amico and Benjamin Shivar, who must have had a bit of a nightmare in his qualifying, because Benjamin is certainly a front-running driver. There he was sixth, or he's lying sixth in the championship, came fourth in the final at Wilton Mill. Absolutely blitzed the Warden Law Spring Championship last weekend, round 3 and 4. He was the driver to beat. So right at the back of the grid, look out for the bright green helmet and the green cart of Benjamin Shivar. He carries the Bosnian flag. I think his parentage is Bosnian.
Somebody has decided to park on the outside of the circuit. Well, someone's been watching old Indianapolis 500 starts on YouTube because they thought, I want to go 3 wide at the start. I want to do a 3x3. Hopefully that was just a driver in the tricky conditions running wide. Not although, as I say that, though, there's the dad or the mechanic is looking at that engine to try and whir it into life. Oh, and there's this the universal signal for she broke. Yeah.
It's a standing start, if you haven't guessed, everybody. Bambinos and cadets are start with a standing start. Lights controlled. We will get another view of our red lights.
That's the number 99 of Riley Aston Wilkins, who has come to a grinding halt and will not take the start, sadly. But the karts are now left alone. We will be getting the signal, or the lights. The light board will go, red lights will flash on. Then when the lights go out, we start racing. There's the great shot, and a couple of drivers are getting a little bit keen. They can be forgiven. And
I'm not sure what's happened here.
Somebody went, and then somebody else went, and then somebody else went, and they forgot that by that point, by the time the fourth driver went, they remembered that they hadn't actually looked at the lights.
I'm not sure. We've got a green flag denoting a race start. There is. We've certainly got karts going around the track, and we've certainly got a leader.
Okay,
that's
we'll
pick
that up. And
Calman Simon leading.
Calman Simon with that's. I mean, if that was a jump start, that's going straight into the jump start Hall of Fames because he was quite a way down the order. However, it does give us a chance. Now, when you look at that go-kart and that crash helmet, only one thing springs to mind.
Yes, it is.
And it's raining, and it takes your mind back to a very wet Estoril and a certain Brazilian in a JPS Lotus.
You know what? I remember seeing that in a Formula Ford 1600.
Ooh.
That's how far back I go.
Oh, when he was De Silva.
Yes, Ayrton Senna De Silva. Yes, there we are. Now, when we went to that camera shot, the lights had already gone out, I think, Henry.
Right, okay.
I think.
Because they're very, very quick. They flash on, flash off.
Yeah, they're very quick this weekend.
So he's lost a bit of ground there, has Kalman Simon.
He's
looking over and just...
That's a problem, isn't it? He's slowed right down.
Yeah. I may have done him a real misfortune by saying that he was a jump start when actually he may have been the only driver actually looking at the lights.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll wait and see what transpires.
But he certainly is slowing down.
Yeah, but he's slowing down. Yes, and that's left. Not quite sure of the number there. Arthur Bowers, I think, is the driver now. That's taken up the cudgels of the lead. Yeah, that's 98. Arthur Bowers.
And is that Noah Wicklow? No, is it Wilco or Wicklow?
Wicklow. You'll continually get that wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I can shoot. Nick and I did last week. Last month, I mean.
Ollie West, Ernie Wade, and try and say that after a couple of ciders. Will Wainwright. Jonathan Ross can't say that.
Yeah, Will was out again at Wardenlaw for the Wardenlaw Car Club Spring Series last weekend, and he had a great weekend. Here he is doing another track on the calendar. Kalman Simon dropping back to the bottom of the field and looks like a retirement. So we will not get to see that Ayrton Senna replica. Can you believe 30 years coming up? 30 years since we lost the great man.
Yes, I was going to say, was it 30 years since his first win in Estoril that we talked about? But no, that would be
85.
That'd be nearly 40 years.
40 years. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Done. Let's move on. Let's move on and talk about Arthur Bowers
before we get upset.
And before we start crying, literally, we've got a 4-kart Bambino battle with a change for second place as Ollie West. Now Ollie West may be doing dual duties again this weekend. We've seen Ollie out on the Might E electric powered Bambinos. Here he is on the petrol-engined C50 Coma Bambino karts, and Ollie West looking very racy indeed through the clubhouse corner. And look how tight they can pull that line through there.
And that's a great camera shot. There's a great example of the slipstream effect, because Arthur Bowers led onto the straight but went to the inside, and just Ollie West and Noah Wicklow used the momentum, 8 wheels working together, and just like a Sunday afternoon drive, almost waved at him as they went past.
It was. He couldn't do anything about it, could Arthur, as well. Now behind the top 3, which is now Ollie West, Noah Wicklow and Arthur Bowers, we've got Ernie Wade. Now, Ernie Wade is the pole position driver, remember, and I did look at the championship standings there, and I didn't see Ernie Wade was he further down. There he was, 17th. So he certainly wasn't anywhere near pole position at last time at Wilton Mill, so he's having a great run here this weekend.
I have to say, because looking at his, he's 22nd in the final, Ernie Wade, but that doesn't. But looking at the points that he gained in the heats of the pre-final, that doesn't look like he wasn't front running all weekend and then had a problem in the final. Right, so he's just upped his game, and you will see that, Joe, with these youngsters, the 6-7 year olds, you will see drivers make huge leaps in competitiveness from one meet into the next, as things suddenly click and they get brave, they get a bit of confidence and what have you.
I have to remind myself when I'm watching, especially the Bambinos, that some of these drivers are only 6 years old.
Yes, I was
6 or 7 years old.
I was struggling to tie my shoelace.
I couldn't
at
even
6
kick
years
a ball
old.
at 6 years old.
I still struggle to tie my shoelace.
And what astounds me is that if you're watching this at home, just when you see these drivers using all of the track, they are doing that deliberately because of the momentum that you have to carry. The Bambinos are very, very underpowered. They're undertired and underpowered for obvious reasons. They're 6 and 7 years old. However, they're still doing 45, 50 miles an hour.
Exactly.
On the straight. So through this turn here, what we're at the clubhouse now, that's a 45, 50 mile an hour corner. And they're 6 and 7 years old, turning the steering when they have to.
You go to the local shops in your car doing that speed, you get a ticket. And here they are at 6-7 and racing inches apart from each other. And, it's not as though it's just like, let's just drive around, as we got to move for second place there. And I think that was Arthur Bowers.
Yes, Arthur Bowers. Side by side, down the hill.
Yeah. No quarter asked and none given. But
is that Wicklow having to drop in behind Bowers as they went towards the carousel? It is indeed. So Wicklow showing discretion, being the better part of valour. He had to let Arthur Bowers go, didn't he? Bowers had a great run through Spoon, and then that run down the hill, out of Spoon, and then through the left kink and down, plunging down the hill. He had all of that momentum downhill. And here he goes. Wicklow will want that second place back. We are inside the final minute, Henry. Time has flown by for our Bambino runners. And here we are going into the last couple of laps at least.
And it's not over yet, because this time Bowers using the inside line. Oh, and we're going to have 3 Ys going down Dragon Straight. And that was Noah Wicklow deciding, I'm not going to work with Bowers. I'm going to swing out wide and try and do a sneaky 2-for-1 manoeuvre. It hasn't worked for him.
Well, it worked for Bowers because he's got ahead of Ollie West. Ollie West had nothing in the toolkit to deal with that, did he? Nothing at all. And if anything, Bowers now pulling away down towards the carousel.
Yes, but they'll such as the drafting capabilities, the slipstream effect, like you say, these underpowered Bambino karts, the relatively slow speeds, that you can tuck yourself down behind the NASA panel and just allow the cart in front of you to disturb the airflow and just get sucked into the little vacuum and pick up a couple of miles an hour.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Here they come then. It'll be the 1 lap to go board that will be clearly seen by these drivers. So these children, because that's what they are, they're only kids out there, they will know that it's the last lap. And already there, Ollie West moving out to the left. Oh, and he wasn't aware that Noah Wicklow had filled the gap he left, and a little bit of inadvertent wheel banging.
Yeah, that was completely. That wasn't a drive at all. Now West using that momentum. Wicklow using that momentum to take the lead.
Yeah, Wicklow used the momentum to great effect. A bit of bum drafting, I think, there. As he clattered in, as Ollie West clattered into him, it sort of fired his car alongside Arthur Bowers, and now we've got a change of lead again as Bowers comes back. They're side by side, are they? No, they're going to have to slot in because that's a one-line piece of racetrack here.
Yes, even though these karts are a little bit more narrow. Oh, as there is West back to the inside of Bowers for second. Good move there. And that just gives Wicklow the chance to break clear so he doesn't have to defend into this final corner. And it's a good win. It's a great win, in fact, for Noah Wicklow, and he's happy with that. Yeah,
great win indeed. We've got the checkered flag flying as well as the checkered board. And it's Noah Wicklow who takes the first heat. Ollie West takes second place, Arthur Bowers third, Ernie Wade fourth, fifth was Benjamin Shiver. Benjamin Shiver from 22nd on the grid to fifth place.
We did say that that's an excellent performance there.
Yeah, very much.
For Shivar. And looking okay, a couple of the drivers a little bit slower than the rest. Naumann, Faison, Will Wainwright seems to have fallen out. But again, 18 finishers, which is what you want to see, because at this stage of the young drivers' careers, you just want them to get laps. It's seat time that is all important. As you can see, Naumann, Faison crossing the line there. But seat time, laps is all important.
So I'm just trying to find a grid. Let's. We've got. Okay, Eddie will show you what to do. Yeah. We've been joined in the booth once again by Eddie Stewart.
I shall park.
Who's just gonna decant Henry. Yes. Who's just got here himself. I know. And now he's lost his job. I'll just wait until Eddie puts his. I haven't got a grid for you, Ed, because I've been waiting for them. So while we're waiting for the junior Rotax field, who are already in the collecting area, I'll just fade you up, Ed. What I did notice, Eddie, was your grid position there. So what happened in time qualifying?
In time qualifying, I got out well. I got out ahead of some other drivers due to somebody not starting. So I got out in a good place, but set a few laps in, got my fastest lap, but then got held up a little bit by some other drivers, which slowed me down, which I couldn't set a faster lap time.
Right, so you got bogged down a bit in the traffic.
Yeah.
What was the track like? Was it wet, dry?
It was on wets. It was grippy, but if you were on slicks, it would be quite slippy.
What were you on?
I was on wets. I think everybody was.
Right, but even so, you were on wets on a track that It's transitioning into dries.
Yeah.
That's always going to be tricky, isn't
It
it?
was sort of ruining your tyres
Yeah.
for the next rounds.
And I've heard it's very, very crucial that when you are in that period of track condition transition, your tyre pressures are crucial. And if your tyre pressures are wrong by 1 or 2 pounds, you can just have no grip whatsoever. Do you think that was a factor?
There was people on the grid with tyre pressure gauges every second, just
Yeah,
changing them.
yeah.
Make sure they're
Literally,
up.
as the track was drying
Yeah.
before their very eyes.
So yeah, it plays a very big part in when your tyres come on and come off.
Good drive, though. Good drive through.
It was,
Yeah, tell us about that.
In quali.
No, and you've just had your heat, haven't you, Junior Primo?
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry and I were just talking about the Junior Primo class, and we mentioned you being where you were in qualifying, but then you came through to, I think, 6th, was it?
Yeah, I came through to 6th in the heats because kart spinning off at the start and just overtaking and being there when drivers were battling, gaining up on.
You're being very humble here, Ed. That was a great drive through to 6th, and you're saying it was more down to other people. You said what I saw was because as they were struggling with the conditions, you kept your head and you came through.
Yeah, keeping your head, keeping composed, and keeping with it is the thing you need to do. Is not let them get away. Don't sit back too much, and try and get some overtakes in when you can.
And that's what you did, isn't it?
That's what I did.
You basically put your head down. You're going to have to do that in Heat 2 this afternoon as well, aren't you? Because you carry that time qualifying grid position into the both heats. So what's the plan going into your second heat?
Exact same as the first one.
Yeah. Yes.
Stay there, stay in with it, but
Yes.
just try to gain more positions. If I get a top 10, top 6, then it'll put me in a great place for the super heats.
Yes. What do you like about this championship, Ed? Because we first met you when we were covering the NKC in Minimax, and here you are. You're going to race the whole season in the Kart Championship?
Yes, we are.
You're enjoying the Primo concept?
Yeah, we're enjoying that sort of smallish grids compared to this 21 kart field. That's pretty hectic.
How old are you at the moment, Ed?
I'm 12.
You're still only 12. I was there. There's me sitting thinking you were 20. We are talking to you like a 20-year-old. Ed, we haven't got a grid, so we're going to wait for these junior Rotax karts to. We haven't got any qualifying information in front of us. In fact, Laura to the rescue. Do you want to give us a quick rundown of that qualifying list? And that's our grid for this junior Rotax first heat.
We have Marcel Popical starting on pole position with Jensen Pritchard in second place, with Henry Hurst Rover in third, Casper Tomalaski and Emily Cooper, James Kell, Andrew Dixon, Max Haller, Ewan Howes, Braith Murdoch, Logan Howes, Callum Josh, Lewis Summer, Addison Smith, Jack Robinson, Ben Horner, John J. Buchan, Molly Pung, Riley Morgan, Luke Sawyers, Lewis Holt, Harrison Parnell, Charlie Vary, Elliot Foster, Archie Doherty, Sam Green Gomez, Asen Brown, Gregory Reed, Aidan McDonald, Christia Stevenov, Leo Barlow, Calvin Moffat.
Excellent. We're already going then. I think we've got a green flag. Let me just confirm we have. We certainly look like we have. No, we have not.
There's debris on the track.
There is a false start flag there, just on the straight. Thank you, Paul. That lets us know that we've... thank you, Laura. That was spot on to our rescue there, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Kart 226. Now then, 3-digit numbers on our junior Rotax karts. 226 is not on my sheet, is he? He's further up the grid if he is. No, so he didn't come off the start there, 226. What's 226, wasn't it? Yeah. Why isn't he on that list? Anyways, we will move on. I did see 226, didn't I? It wasn't 256, was it? No, we're not going to say that, Ed, just in case it wasn't. Do you like our green room, Laura? It's very nice, isn't it? Yeah. I brought that so for myself. Here we go. We've got a green flag this time, though, Ed. And look how we went through turn one there, 3 abreast in that second place position. That's allowed our leader, I think that's Callum Gosh, who's got ahead of everyone and has been able to eke out a bit of a gap as they go through Spoon bend down the hill to the carousel, Ed.
They're going through. The leader has pulled a small gap. Marcel Popical has lost out massively in this. Where is he now?
2:35 is our leader, according to what I've just seen there. That bears no reflection whatsoever on our timing screen in front of us, so we'll wait until that settles in. Here they come then to complete lap number 1, and we should get the thing settling down on our timing screen here to give us an idea of who is where. It's Kasper Tomilewski on the number 220. That's Kamaleski. It is 2:35. Jensen Pritchard, who shows at the front. Now, whether that is it. Yes, Pritchard has Tomilewski just took the lead, or is Pritchard still there? Pritchard has, I think, got a transponder issue. So that is the leader there, and that's kart number 2, who is Harry Hurst Grover, who got by Pritchard. 2:35 is the second kart in that screenshot there. Here they come. So Jensen Pritchard is not showing any laps. Off up and towards the Spoon curve, Harry Hurst Grover is our leader. Ed, and already do you think, there's a move for third? This is going to be frantic as ever, the junior Rotax, aren't they? It's very hard to keep an eye on who's doing what, because their qualifying session was a little bit mixed track condition. We've got people out of place, and some faster drivers are further down the grid. So do you think that's what's happening here, Ed, where you've got a lot of movement in that early stage?
Yeah, you've got some drivers that aren't particularly good in the wet and have suddenly come good in the dry, and they're trying to get through quickly. And the drivers that are good in the wet are still there, they're still fighting. But as we can see, the 215 trying to pass. I think he came from further back.
Yeah, that's Addison Smith. He came from way back. He had a bit of a spin there as the Emily Cooper, that is, the MLC driver, getting spun out there. Was a little bit of a coming together there. That was inevitable, Ed, the way we could see that happening, couldn't we?
You could see that it was 3 wide, or was it 2 wide? They were all fighting, all wanted to get past, and I think she probably knew what was happening.
Yeah, we've just got crowded out a bit. This has allowed Harry Hurst Grover to eke away, and we're at half distance in this heat now, and already a 1.2 second gap to Addison Smith. Kasper Tomilewski, I think, is the car behind. We've got Jensen Pritchard now appearing in 4th, so that transponder issue has been rectified. There he is there, Jensen Pritchard, just coming through and onto our screens there. Jensen has gone with, I'm trying to see which team is that. It's Ultimate R, isn't it? Yeah, Jensen now with Ultimate R. He was with Hunter Motorsport last season.
He's in my awning.
He's in your awning, is he? Right. Is he with Ultimate R? Are you with Ultimate R?
We're just in privateers with Daniel Hartley and...
Right. So is Jensen in there with you?
Yeah.
Well, say hello from me, will you?
I will.
Because he's currently in 4th. He's got Andrew Dixon, Ben Horner in 6th, Lewis Sumner in 7th, Max Horler in 8th, 9th is Callum Gorsh, and James Kell rounds off the top 10. But that's where the challenge is going to come, Ed. So you are Andrew Dixon. What can you tell me is going through his head right now? Right there behind. Actually, that's the cart behind. That's Ben Horner. That's the cart we need to look at there. There's the move. What happened there, Ed?
I think the car in front of him went too wide around the corner, and then Andrew Dixon got to move through and slipped it through. Got quite lucky there, I'd say. Yeah,
so Pritchard slid wide there going into the compression, I think. Or as they come out of Devil's Elbow in towards the compression. I do love that view of the carts coming over the brow there. That's Andrew Dixon with the black nose now, and he's pulling away. Ed.
I don't think Pritchard's done yet. I think he's still got something left. I think he's still going to have a go.
He is being hassled somewhat, though. Ben Horner now is hassling Jensen Pritchard right on his bumper, and likewise Lewis Sumner on the bumper of Ben Horner. What happened there, Eddie?
He was pushed from behind. I think his nose is down. Down the straight.
What was that about his nose, Eddie?
he got a bit of a shunt from behind,
Right.
pushed him wide, and I think that noses down.
Is that Pritchard's?
No, who's in front of Pritchard?
Dixon.
I think it's Dixon's.
This is great stuff. So the cart there with the blue and white nose section. Then we've got the orange cart of Jensen Pritchard. Just behind Pritchard is Lewis Sumner. The leading battle has gone off and ahead of this, but now we've got what looks like a 7-cart train from 4th. Well, that's 5th, 6th, 7th. Lewis Sumner ahead of Pritchard. That's what we saw. And Pritchard, once Pritchard being left behind somewhat, again, Andrew Dixon got past Pritchard, he disappeared. Lewis Sumner doing likewise. Jensen Pritchard now trying to hold on to what is now 6th place, and he's under immense pressure from Callum Gors. There they are there, the 2 orange carts, and getting bumped there, Eddie. Did you see that? That was kind of, it didn't look deliberate, it looked inadvertent. Just watch these here. Through the compression there, and that, behind Pritchard, Eddie, there is all sorts of carnage breaking out.
Yeah, Pritchard has sort of gotten away while they're battling, and that's Max Horler. It's three wide.
Oh, that's not
He's
good,
got
is
a
it?
lead on the grass. He's lost out.
Yeah.
About 3 places there.
On the grass there, up towards Spoon. It'll be the 1 lap to go board next time by for Kasper Tomaszewski, our current junior Rotax champion, defending champion, still carrying the 220 number on his cart, whereas Harry Hurst-Grover carrying the number 2 as vice champion. This gaggle of carts tripping over one another through the compression. They have to sort themselves out before they go through the final turn. And we've got a change of position there as the 272. Ben Horner has come through in 9th, been demoted down the order.
You got Addison Smith in the lead, not Kasper Tomaszewski.
Is that who's in the lead? Addison Smith.
Addison
Oh
Smith.
my, yes he is, Addison Smith. It's Tomaszewski who's dropped to 3rd. So take no notice of what's on your screen. It's Addison Smith who's leading.
It says 1 bias to the name, but there's...
Yeah, what's happened there is our timing screen on our TV monitors has not scraped the timing and scoring, so we'll get James on that as quickly as we can. There's your top 10, Eddie. Do you want to take us through as we hit the checkered flag for heat number 1 for our junior Rotax?
Kasper Tomaszewski current... No, not Kasper.
No, this one.
Addison Smith.
I got caught out with that.
Addison Smith currently leads with Harry Hurst-Grover following in close behind. Kasper Tomaszewski in 3rd place with Andrew Dixon in 4th. Lewis Sumner in P5. Jensen Pritchard, a good drive from him in P6. Callum Gosh and Jack Robinson. Max Horler, James Kell and Ben Horner in the top 11.
Thank you, Eddie. So you've got another heat coming up. So what do you do now before that heat? What's your preparation? Do you go and lie down in a dark room or something and
look at the data, analyse what went wrong last time, how to fix that, how to get faster, and just calm down. Don't go running around.
and don't get too excited?
No, don't get too excited.
Don't let the nerves get to you.
No, yeah.
Right, yeah. And you will enjoy it, of course.
Yes.
Yes, that's the main thing. Thanks, Ed. Thanks for popping in. We'll let you hand the headset back to Henry. I told you he was good, didn't I? He's far too good for my liking. Thanks, Eddie. Go back to being a racing driver, mate. Thanks again. Great stuff. Eddie Stewart there, who will be out again in the Junior Primo class. Thank you, Laura, for bringing Eddie in. Eddie has aspirations and aspirations to work in media. He was telling me he's looking for it. I mean, he's only 12, so he's got plenty of time ahead of him.
I'm going to say it's P45 already. I've only just got you. Well, funny enough, I mean, I first remember Eddie when he was in the Daniel Ricciardo series.
Oh, really?
Going
Yes.
back end of 2020, and we did a feature on him. And speaking to his mum just then,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Oh, we did this feature, and I, interviewed him back and forth." And he looked at that and thought, "Oh, I quite like speaking on behind the microphone." So
right, so it's your fault.
It's fortunate that is my fault, but I mean, it's great. Oh, we've got a situation there with a couple of drivers.
Henry,
that have,
I know you were looking over our shoulders there, but if that junior Rotax, what can I say?
It was very junior Rotax-ish.
It was very junior Rotax-ish, wasn't it? It's like I know we had Eddie came in and sat there, and like as a novice commentator, that was a baptism of fire for Eddie there.
Yes.
I couldn't keep tabs on what was happening down the field there and down the order.
Well, I mean, things happen very, very quickly, and the junior Rotax drivers, there's a lot of them here that are very experienced in other championships. Kasper Tomalewski, commentated on him numerous times across number of different championships. Max Horler, Callum Ghosh, the same. But then you've got drivers that this is their first experience of sort of national level of racing. And it can get a little bit too much. Of course, the weather isn't helping. It's stopped spitting with rain, but it's very cold. It's very overcast, and that means that the tarmac doesn't warm up. It doesn't take as much grip, and it can still be quite slippery, and the track is cold. I know it's cold outside, but we call it the track is green.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of moisture that has gone down over it, and which has taken all the residual rubber off the track. The Mojo tyres, Dunlop tyres, you've got LeConte tyres being used, so at least three different brands of tyre being used. But of course, when it rains, it takes all that rubber off the circuit. And if we don't get any more rain, and let's keep our fingers and toes crossed that we don't, then you'll see, the racing line, a lot more rubber gets laid down as we look down the valley. That's very Welsh. Down the valley at the clubhouse and the scrutineering area on the left-hand side of your screen, and that's our camera position from the balcony of the clubhouse, and the first spotting of Dan Ashton's red trainers
and his yellow earmuffs.
Yellow earmuffs, red trainers,
keeping his ears very warm. Those muffs.
Yes. Well, I mean, he's. And so I know his mum Linda will be watching, and so there we go. You can chalk that one off your, Kart Championship bingo card. Dan Ashton's red trainers and yellow muffs have already been spotted and mentioned.
Yes, and will be mentioned at every opportunity across the weekend.
Yes. No, we won't mention how much weight he's put on. Oh, sorry, Dan. Sorry.
Now you're gloating, Henry, because you've lost a bit of weight.
I know.
So you're gloating, mate. You're gloating. You're picking on him.
I am.
We're not going to do that in this championship.
No, we're not allowed to pick on Dan.
No.
Wrong.
I know it's easy, but we're not going to.
We're not going to.
Yes.
Okay, we'll refrain.
We've got some karts being cleared up, so we're about to get going with our Intermax heat number 1. This is the Intermax that we are more familiar with for the last couple of seasons, the 950 chassis, the narrower tyre. Remember when Minimax Intermax was the fatter tyre, the larger chassis? This is a much better idea for me. I think the MSUK got behind this idea of bringing the kids onto the smaller chassis and the tyre as well. I think is the important thing, because the grip level that those Minimax karts were able to achieve.
You
had these kids hanging on to them through the corners and being thrown out the karts virtually.
And now it brings it in line with Intermax, or this level of racing around the world in Europe. It's in Europe and other countries, other continents. This is the size of chassis they use, the size of tyre they use, and
that's sensible, isn't it?
Yeah, and when drivers were going from the UK, they were winning the Minimax Championship in the UK, getting the tickets to the Rotax Grand Finals, and suddenly they were turning up and they have to race a cadet size chassis or a micro size chassis,
completely different,
which threw them off kilter a little bit.
Let's have a quick rundown of the grid. It's our smallest grid of the weekend in Intermax, with only 11 karts that have come out to qualify. In fact, 10 karts came out to qualify. No time given by someone at the back. We'll come to him in a moment. Max Gilman's on the pole with Jensen Sale alongside. JJ Plowman on row 2 with Harvey Bacon. And then we've got Oscar Roach and Nathan Edwards. George Ralston and Drew Davidson are on row 4. Row 5 is Sandro Kemp and Fraser Anderson, and it's Thomas Jackson who rounds off the 11 kart field with no time in qualifying. I'm not sure what exactly happened to Thomas, but no time given for him.
But he is out there. I can spot 11 go-karts circulating. as we look up towards, the north end of the circuit. And again, we're very, very fortunate, Joe. We'll talk about this, but I mean, there's few places in the world better to watch any sort of racing than here. Some of the vista, as it were,
yes,
is particularly impressive. Not that these drivers are going to care about it, because they're about to go racing.
They are, but before they do that, I've just got to say, Gors is kind of unique insofar as you haven't got any tyres in the middle of the track.
No.
You've got these beautiful green areas as we go green. See that segue there?
Yeah. As we go, expertly done.
Through turn 1 and on towards Spoon. We've got a nice sort of breakaway there for the first two, bit of a gap, and then the rest of, third place is quite lonely actually, but then we've got the gaggle of karts coming over the brow and into our view.
Yeah, Max Gilman, a very experienced driver in Bambinos. A lot of these drivers obviously came through the Bambino ranks. There's a move for the race lead as they come up the hill, and that would be, I think that's Harvey Bacon in the 180 kart, who has moved into top spot.
Great move from the second row.
Yeah, now, of course, looking at JJ Plowman, I wonder, is that a relation of Martin Plowman?
I don't know. I
will endeavour to find out. Because speaking of Martin Plowman on a podcast the other night, again, sports car driver, ex-karter.
There's the gesticulation there from Harvey Bacon, the point. And he slides wide, very wide, into Spoon, went all the way to the outside of the track. That's allowed Jensen sail through and into the lead. So he was pointing at his helmet, wasn't he, saying, let's work together. However, I think he was more focused on that and less focused on his braking point.
But that's the second or third time we've seen the leader come over that brow and just, because they haven't got a kart in front of them to sort of judge the braking, and they just push things a little bit too far and losing time. And he's lost one position, but thankfully for Harvey Bacon, he hasn't lost too much time, and he's still in the slipstream of the draft as they complete what would be their second lap. And Drew Davidson has dropped to the back of the field, but now Harvey Bacon is right back on the rear bumper of Jensen Sales' kart and following him through the Spoon curve and down the hill.
He'll be kicking himself going down the hill towards the carousel because he made a mistake going into Spoon and allowed that lead to be lost to Jensen Seal. He's got a lot of work to do now, Henry, in getting that back, and he's not going to be able to do anything about it through this part of the racetrack here at Gors, as it's pretty much a one-line piece of racetrack here, through the compression, through the left-hander, and then down towards the final turn. And I've got to say, that is a massively off-camber final turn here.
It is.
You don't realise how you can kind of see it from our grid cam.
And it's very tempting as well to have that lunge up the inside, especially the closing stages. But as we saw in the last race, with two karts off at the side of the circuit, those lunges don't always come to fruition because of the off-camber nature, because you're carrying so much momentum from downhill. But Harvey Bacon, speaking of momentum, he's got his momentum back, and especially through this next corner here, this left-hander. Slippery surface flags are out.
There we go.
And there's somebody has spun off that. I think, is that JJ Plowman and Thomas Jackson have come a cropper.
I'm not sure whether that overtake from Bacon was under yellow.
And
that's a Battenberg flag.
Yes, a Battenberg flag. It's not slippery surface. I do apologise.
So, right. So it wasn't that was the Battenberg you saw, right?
It was the Battenberg, not the slippery. And Harvey Bacon has instantly allowed Jensen Sale to get back into the lead.
Right. So what's the Battenberg flag? I can hear everyone at home screaming. If you're new to karting, it's basically, you might be familiar with a virtual safety car in Formula One or the like. Well, the leading driver basically has to slow down, and the field have to gather up behind them and then continue round. It is kind of like a virtual safety car.
Yeah.
Or like when, what do they call it, when the lead driver takes over the safety car in Formula One?
Well, yeah.
Or becomes the safety car.
They're the de facto pace car.
That's right, yes.
They're the safety car, which we're seeing, more and more of. And I have to say, I've been all over the world commentating so far this year, and the British drivers know their flags much better than drivers in other nations.
Well, you've just been to America for quite a chunk of time, weren't you? Some big events there.
And I was surprised that when...
Really?
Yeah, because they use a double yellow. They hold 2 yellow flags out on a big pole to signify that. But
is that kind of a full course caution?
Full course caution, which some of the drivers in one particular race weren't aware of.
Oh, really?
One driver went from 23rd to 3rd in one lap and wondered why everyone was letting him go. It's very, very civil of you. Thank you.
I ran a driver in a brick car race once who did that. And he was coming on the radio to me saying, I've got another one. I think, I'm not surprised, mate. We're under a safety car. Yeah. Sure enough, he got dragged into the street during the 6-hour race.
Yeah, you've got another one. Great. The stewards need your attention. Bring your wallets.
Yeah, remind me to tell you the full story over dinner. I can't really do it on a broadcast. We've got the clock ticking. The clock ticks away whilst we're under this Battenberg flag, and Harvey Bacon will continue to control the field. He needs to be heads up for when we go green, because he will be the first driver that gets a chance to restart. Yeah. Still splashes of rain on the camera lens, Henry, so there's still a little bit of precipitation in the air.
And people say, why are we under Battenberg flag conditions? Obviously, there were 2 drivers at the side of the circuit, and they wanted to make sure the drivers were okay before they allowed racing to continue, which I believe is going to happen now.
We are indeed going green. And, of course, when it's an adult kart race and karts go off at the side, the adult is strong enough to pull their car out of harm's way. Yeah. What happens with kids' races are the kids aren't strong enough and have to get assisted at each and every occasion. So that's why safety is a virtue, really. It comes our priority, so we wouldn't hesitate in putting the Battenberg flag out, or indeed the red flag in more serious instances, because we are dealing with children.
Yeah, especially even more to the point as well, because there's been that grass is so sodden and muddy that you get a wheel off and the cart will just stick in the mud, and that will be all she wrote. But we've had 1 lap of the restart, so 30 seconds plus. Is it 30 seconds plus 1 lap or plus 2 laps?
It's plus 1 lap.
Plus 1 lap to go, and Bacon is once again looking to the inside on Jensen Sale, and that's a good move. Can he get the cart sort of lined up correctly for Spoon? Yes, he can. And Nathan Edwards and Max Gilman in 3rd and 4th, they're not far off either.
So Bacon, having given that Jensen Sale, the lead back to Jensen Sale under the Battenberg, has now got it legitimately back. Harvey Bacon on the number 180 will lead across the line this time by my estimation, we'll see the 1 lap to go board as the clock has ticked down, no time left on the clock through the compression towards the final stages of the lap, through the final turn. There's the 1 lap to go board. A welcome sight, I would imagine, for Harvey Bacon. He's got 1 more lap to hold off everybody. And Max Gilman there, the kart in 3rd place, the 169. Jensen Sale down the inside of and through and into Spoon. Jensen Sale's the bright yellow kart on the outside, and he has to relinquish that, didn't he?
Yeah, Max Gilman, he got the position, he got the momentum behind him, and I think quite a smart move there from Sale to not try and go side by side around the outside of Spoon Curve. Thinking of the championship, this is 1/2 of today's racing. Oh, there's a move for the race lead, Gilman, and that looks like his teammate. They both got Thule Motorsport graphics on them, but certainly Gilman looking racy.
Gilman does look racy, and down the inside at that very off-camber final turn, and that's almost a 3-wide finish. Not quite 3 wide for Max Gilman, though, who took the win by 88 thousandths of a second, would you believe, at the flag. Harvey Bacon, who we stole it off at the final turn, came second. Jensen Sale was 3rd, literally nose to tail. So 88 thousandths of a second between Gilman in 1st and Bacon in 2nd. And then Bacon, 61 thousandths of a second to Jensen Sale in 3rd. That's how close that race was. Only half a second to Nathan Edwards in 4th, and another 4/10 to Fraser Anderson in 5th. George Ralston was 6th. Oscar Roach 7th, 8th was Sandro Kemp, Drew Davidson 9th, 10th was JJ Plowman, and rounding off the 11 kart field was Thomas Jackson and JJ Plowman, who we lost, of course, on lap 2.
Yes, and Ralston, as a novice driver, the number 199, very impressive top 6 finish as well for Ralston, ahead of Roach, Kemp, Davidson and Plowman. But the next race is our Mighty Bambinos. Now this is
I haven't got a grid for them, actually.
But I mean, what I am really pleased to see is the amount of mighty Bambinos that we've
it's great,
got.
isn't it?
The future is here, and the future is quiet.
It's fabulous, isn't it? It's the future is. I've just realised what you've said there. It is. It's like I thought my hearing had gone to Wilton Mill when they went out. I'm just going to try and talk amongst yourselves while I try and find out the grid in timing and scoring.
And again, just looking at some of the names on the grid, one name that that screams out to me is talk about the legacy is Felix Tandy.
Yes, it is.
You know, Felix Tandy. That is
Nick Tandy's kid.
Nick Tandy's son, of course. Nick and his late brother Joe. Again, familiar faces, names throughout junior Formula racing, single-seater racing, sports car racing. You know,
well, what was Nick? Nick is here, sparring Felix.
Yes,
he was last weekend
at Sebring. I would imagine. Yep,
didn't have a great time. Ended up with 2 laps down on the lead. I forget why Nick Damon did tell me why that was. Nick was over there. Nick Damon was over there. Nick Damon, who is usually here for Karting Live TV, is unable to be with us this weekend as A, it's his birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Nick!
But more importantly, B, he's giving away his stepdaughter.
You know how many
I
times
hope he gets a good price for it.
I mean, how many times in life do you get married?
Absolutely.
2-3 times.
Yeah,
so you've got to make the most of these days.
Yeah. So Nick is giving his daughter away, and best of luck to Connie and the rest of the family, and I hope Nick gets a chance to be very sweaty on the dance floor, as he's renowned to be.
But I mean, from Sebring, Florida last weekend to North Wales this weekend, I mean, I can, this. If you squint, just squint enough, you could almost make out to be. No, you can't make it out to be the Florida runways at all. I've bitten off more than I can chew there. There is no segue that you can lead. It's one end of the motorsport world to the other. But this will be another standing start. Now, looking back, while Joe tries to find a grid, or we try and cobble a grid together based off a visual, Ralph Martin, he was the winner of the final, and it was a perfect weekend for Ralph at Wilton Mill. Ollie West and Felix Tandy filled out the final podium at Wilton Mill. Heath Smith, but he sits third in the championship ahead of Tandy, behind West, after the first of 5 rounds. 18 drivers at Wilton Mill. We've got a similar number here as well.
I've got the timing.
Okay, here we go. Your
the dynasty continues.
Just as now we need a couple of the drivers at the back to sort of get into the wrong position while we can run through the grid very quickly.
Nick Tandy, I can assure you, will have a bit of a tear in his eye here.
Oh dear.
Because his boy is on pole position. A 61.189 was Felix Tandy's qualifying time. He was 0.142 quicker than Oliver Woodhall. Ralph Martin and Ollie West are next. Ollie, double duties for Ollie. He's already in the. Also in the C50s, the petrol engine karts. Heath Sim and Junior Wright are on row 3. Row 4 is Jack Harper and Eva Garrett. Maximilian Mikalski and Arthur Thompson are on row 5. Row 6 is Hugo Williams and Jensen James Williams are on row 6. Frank Pearson, Etienne Gardner, Nico Mohan and Hadley Jarvis, Arthur Bath, Kai Ergensoy. And then we've got Christian Doshi and Henry Ailes, who is at the back of the grid. They have been given the lights out, and away they go. And it's the number 28 of Tandy, who leads from pole position through Clubhouse, and already off he goes up the hill. Change for second there, is it? Not quite, Henry.
No, as they go up the hill, in blissful silence. These the electric powered karts, no internal combustion engines, so we can't call them engines. They are power units, fixed sprocket gearing to keep it simple. As we're in the gestate. Oh, and that's Felix Tandy running a little bit wide coming out of the carousel. Now it's interesting. Tandy has got the old school metal rear bumper on his kart, and everybody else has got the plastic rear bumper. As Tandy side by side with
pressure.
Ralph Martin.
He's under a massive amount of pressure, his little Felix, as he comes through the final turn. He will show leading lap 1 from pole position. Ralph Martin is right on his bumper through Clubhouse. But look at that. Look at you know what? It's only his second race meeting. And already he knows to hug the inside line and defend that line over the brow of the hill and into Spoon.
God, it's almost like his dad knows what he's talking about,
Yeah,
isn't it?
well, he's a one. Felix listening to his dad, doing as he says.
But now, of course, defending this early isn't always a tactic that will endear you to the drivers around you. However, the first, cast your mind back, Joe, the first time that you ever sort of like found yourself leading any sort of competitive race, you think, right, the instant reaction is, right, defend, must maintain this lead.
I used to defend when there was no one to defend from. It's like sort of that kept me lap times down. This is a great battle at the lead.
Yes.
Felix Standy showing great racecraft in not so much defensive driving, just keeping to his line and keeping the pace up. Here goes Ralph Martin onto his rear bumper. And Ralph Martin trying to get down the inside, the right-hand side of Felix Standy, and there wasn't a gap there.
No.
There wasn't a gap there. The three behind, by the way, that's Oliver Woodhall, Ollie West and Junior Wright. There's a three-card battle there. That's developing for third, fourth and fifth. Meanwhile, I'm not quite sure. That's got to be because he put a wheel on the grass. That's why he lost that momentum.
Yes, Felix Tandy already learning thou shalt not pass. So it's Tandy, Martin, Woodall, West and Junior Wright. And here goes Ralph Martin again. He gets alongside going up the hill. Now, can he tuck to the inside? Not quite. Now, I have to say, looking at Tandy's kart there's another... that's that blue and yellow. I think as you get drivers, that's a Napa liveried kart there. It looked like
well, remember, Nick's a big NASCAR fan. Right?
Yeah, so he's a Chase Elliott fan there. Or it almost looked like a Phoenix, a Fina oil as Tandy gets showed the outside there by Ralph Martin and Ollie West goes through as well. You'll find this with sort of second and third generation drivers when they're in karting and they're not with a team, as it were, that dictate which livery you run. You'll find that people getting a little bit creative and harking back to days of yore in terms of their graphics kit, which gives us commentators something more to sort of smile about through misty eyes.
Yeah, I do like bold colours. I think we've got another change for the lead, as the lead has gone Ollie West.
West, yes.
Coming back at him. So Ralph Martin will not show as leading this heat at all unless he can find a way by Ollie West. Ollie West snuck inside of him at the Spoon, and Ollie West and Ralph Martin beginning to pull away now from Felix Tandy. Felix holding on to that third place. I think that's Junior Wright behind him. We'll confirm that as they come through and across the line to complete what will be 4 laps. These two still absolutely together though. Ollie West, Ralph Martin, Felix Tandy solid in third, and if anything, Henry's coming back at those leading two.
Yeah, he is. Now he's had a chance to sort of get his composure back and sort of refocus his mind, and of course there's the disappointment of losing the lead, and then you can occasionally get a little bit ruffled, in terms of, you lose a bit of concentration and focus. Now he's sort of back into that zone. Henry Hales, I've noticed, has gained a lot of positions. He's up into sixth place off camera, but this is a great battle. The top 4 have pulled away from Junior Wright a little bit, and what I enjoy, it's these are the youngest drivers. You can easily sort of be critical, that mistake there, but that's not the point of this racing. No. They're learning, and sometimes there's no fear, and it's like, well, that's not where you're supposed to make a move. Well, they don't know any different. They're going to try.
No, they don't know a textbook. They haven't read a textbook. They can, they're still reading.
They're still doing colouring in school.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go then through Clubhouse for the 6th time onto lap 6, and Felix Tandy has indeed. He's driven a couple of very smooth laps, and now he's back on the bumper of that second place Ralph Martin. Oliver Woodall is not that far behind in 4th, but it looks to me as though Ralph Martin, who hasn't exactly been dropped by Ollie West maintaining the lead, and they're through into 3rd, or is he? Ralph having to, wheel banging his way back into that 3rd place. Felix Tandy looking to his right. I'm not sure how that's going to go down, but we'll leave that one to the stewards, I think, as Oliver Woodall has to settle for 4th.
Livery it up like a NASCAR and drive it like a NASCAR. Rubbings racing, that's but it has cost them both time, and it means that with a minute to go, West and Martin have got the lead battle all to themselves. Now, Tandy and Woodall, if they play nice and work together, they can close the gap, because I'm sure that West will have to defend from Martin, which will slow the pair of them down. And I think we're going to start seeing, maybe with 45 seconds to go, there's Martin checking over his shoulder. He knows he's got just enough time to make one move side by side for third.
Yeah, nearly. He looked over his shoulder and there was no one there. He didn't expect that, did he?
No.
He didn't expect to see Felix Tandy drop by. There's a challenge for third. Going to happen at Spoon this time. Oliver Woodall down the inside of Felix Tandy. Felix trying to come back, and again, side by side, I think, down the hill towards Carousel. No, Tandy having to drop in behind the orange helmet of Oliver Woodall. Orange helmet, orange cart there, standing proud. Easy to spot. These two battling for third and fourth. There's the leaders, side by side, into the right-hander at Devil's Elbow, that one. It's kind of a double apex corner, that, isn't it? Two corners in one. And I think Ralph Martin is having to settle for second place. It'll be the 1 lap to go board this time by Henry, though, as Ollie West comes across the line. 7 laps completed. It'll be 8 laps completed when they hit the flag.
Now, see, Martin went for a move there at the top of the hill, and of course you had to back out of it. He lost a lot of momentum, but look at the amount of momentum he's managed to gain. He's up the inside and takes the lead going down Dragon Straight. West tucks back in, almost clips the rear bumper of Martin's car as he tries to tuck back into the slipstream, but just on there side by side. So West was able to say, and there's a spin for Tandy, just getting a little bit over enthused there, and he comes back on just in front or just behind Junior Wright. But it's now a three-way battle for the lead with half a lap to go.
I think that actually caused Tandy to have that spin there as he came over Spoon. The three carts ahead of him just kind of concertinaed up, didn't they? And they were almost tripping over one another. They've settled down, though, and they're going to drive to the flag in first, second and third place order of Ollie West, Ralph Martin and Oliver Woodall. Unless it changes in the next couple of bends, they've got one more off-camber right hand, and down the inside has gone Martin, and he's going to make it happen. He has indeed. He snatches that, steals it. Call the police, someone, because Ralph Martin stole the lead there on the final turn, and he will take that heat number 1 win. Ralph Martin takes the win. Ollie West second, Oliver Woodall third, Junior Wright fourth, Felix Tandy recovering for fifth place, Henry Hill sixth, Heath Smith was seventh, eighth was Maximilian Mikalski, and it was Ava Garrett and Jensen James Williams that rounded off the top 10. Those Bambinos,
very, very impressive. And I mean, that's the 6th race we've had today, Joe, and that's the second last corner pass for the lead and the win that was made cleanly.
And I didn't think we'd see any passes at that last turn. It's one of those mid-speed corners.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say before I forget, those were electric carts.
Yes. I completely forgot about that.
Don't they? I know.
Completely forgot about that.
Don't they race well?
Yes, they race very well, because there are some very... I mean, I've driven an E20, which is a senior electric cart, and I've got to say, the skeptic in me, it was powered out of me in about 10 seconds flat, because
really?
The senior electric carts are... The throttle response is obviously a bit different from a combustion engine, and the braking, you'd think the braking is either instant all or nothing, and it's not. It's far more progressive than you would imagine.
Right.
But the actual throttle response, it's like anything electric. It's mind-bogglingly fast.
We had 2 Might E Bambinos. Ava Garrett was one of them.
Yep.
Who's here today on the grid of C50 Comas at Warden Law last weekend for the Spring Series. And Ava Garrett went from the 3rd row every time into the lead.
Yeah.
And then because of Ava's experience, she wasn't experienced as the drivers ahead of her, they would then force their way by. Now, the parents were telling the kids on the C50s, you've got to get past Ava Garrett as quickly, you've got to get past our electric car as quickly as possible. Very, very difficult to overtake. Same lap times, but in a completely different way.
Yes.
Absolutely fired out of a cannon off the line.
Yeah, but it was an excellent race. Yeah, the fact that we don't, and that's what the sort of the electric karting community wants us to. They want these races to go on without anyone mentioning, it's electric, by the way, because you don't see the difference. You can hear the difference, but in terms of the way they race, how they teach the drivers, and what they teach the drivers is exactly the same as your normal traditional internal combustion engine
exactly
racing.
The same. It raced really well, and these two old commentators, sat here were not
If they could just air filter, sort of spray Castrol R around the track during the time.
What a great idea.
That would be
take off in my head.
And
that's Leo Hunt, who was on the back of the grid here, and he's had to pull up. So problems for Leo Hunt in qualifying.
Yes.
And that continues into the race.
Yeah, that's quite a popular parking spot on the rolling lap, Joe. That's the second. We saw Sophia Caldwell off there earlier on. Now, does that mean they're going to call the start off? That or has it? Or have they? Because that looks very racy. No, there's hands in the air. You can see the drivers signalling in the air, which gives you a chance, Sergio.
Gives us a chance to go off down the grid.
Starting lineup.
Yes, very nice of them. Unfortunately for the number 66, Leo Hunt is not going to take part in the first eight. Logan Rolfe, who was a very inquisitive young man on the balcony as we were rigging our cameras up this morning. He was asking lots of questions. Well, he was the questions of how to rig up cameras and receivers did not detract from him going out and qualifying and putting it on pole position. He's on the front row with Chloe McGill alongside. Great effort from Chloe. Albie J. Stubbs and Buddy Hugo are on the second row. Row 3 is Elijah West and Alfie Mayer. Benedictus Masiokas is on 7th. Lewis Herbertson 8th. 5th row of the grid, Jensen Walker and Alfie Garrett. Xavier Ramsey and Lewis Kirkcaldy are next. 13th and 14th is Matthew Lilly and Toby Biggs. Then we've got Dean Singh Pahal and Sebastian Crawford in 15th and 16th. Freddie Blackshaw and Jack Mellon 17th and 18th. Then we've got Victor Poppercole, Jamie Walsh, Zach Andrew, Travis Giddings, Carter Jackson, Ruben Sagu, Ronnie Faulkner. Rounds off 25 karts. The 26th kart is Leo Hunt, of course, who is unfortunately a retirement. I think that was just in time, Henry, because they're here with us already.
Here we go then. They're into the tram lines, and this time we are off and racing. It's a good start for Logan Rolfe, who instantly dives to the inside, and I have to say, and there's a driver there with 2 wheels on the grass. We'll catch up there, but Logan's got a very, very good start. Chloe McGill as well, the number 18 kart there with the pink. I think that might be Chloe McGill who's got the jump. And a bit of a chain reaction incident. Some of the cutting edge motorsport karts. Steve Cutting's team.
That's Alfie Garrett. And who was the other one?
25 of we'll check that. Jensen Walker, I think, was the other driver of Steve Cutting's team. Good to see Steve in the paddock. Has helped a lot of drivers gain their sort of race licenses at Rye House over the years. And, Steve Cutting had Harry Thompson and a few other very, very famous drivers in his Honda Cadet stable, Alex Lloyd being another one over the years.
Alfie Mayer has come from about the third row of the grid in qualifying, and now he leads, and he leads in fine style. He's found a way by Chloe McGill, who has now got Buddy Hugo and Benedictus Masiokas right there on her bumper. Masiokas looking like he's maybe going to challenge. As Chloe McGill. Easy to spot is Chloe with her pink kart and pink helmet. Big thanks to her for that. So I can spot her anywhere on any grid, which is great. Now Chloe's pulling away from the 3rd and 4th place karts. Oh, I think that's Masiokas, who's got
number 11.
It's Buddy Hugo. It's Hugo who's still hanging on to 3rd. He was being challenged, I think, there by the Zip driver Masiokas. That's settled down now as they cross the line there, Henry.
But the Zip factory team seem to be well represented at the front. Earl the Pearl and the rest of the Zip crew have got, they've got Alfie Mayer leading this race, and then in 4th and 5th, Albie J. Stubbs and Benedictus Masiokas. You can just see there, so it's great to see the Zip name back at the sharp end of British karting.
Earl and his
Earl and Tuesday.
Yes, of course, who was Martin's daughter.
Martin's daughter, yeah. Luke is around as well, back in the family.
Speaking to Earl many years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and the Zip branded kind of disappeared a little bit.
Yeah, it almost
and Earl and Tuesday were bringing it back in, and they had a team there, and Earl was telling me he knew absolutely nothing about karting. Well, he's caught on very well.
Yeah, he's a quick learner, is Earl.
They've done a cracking job in bringing that Zip kart brand back to the fore and back to the front of grids across the country.
Yeah, and I think, without wanting to disrespect these drivers who are doing a fantastic job on the circuit, we're not going to talk about. I'll talk about them very shortly. But I was very fortunate enough to be at Clay Pigeon Raceway, where Kenzo Craigie, who's now part of the Mercedes Young Driver Formula 1 driver young driver program, won on a zip kart, their first win in the British Championship for a number of years on the 11th anniversary of Martin's passing, which was a very special emotional moment for the whole team and a lot of people in the motor racing world who owe the formative years of their karting career to the Zip brand and the Hines family.
Absolutely. This is a great drive from Chloe McGill, who's still hanging on there in second. Alfie Mayr's ahead by just a second, and Chloe is driving a cracking race because no one can find a way by her. They've had a good couple of laps while Henry and I chunted on and reminisced, but there's the move now, finally, by Buddy Hugo. He's had 2 laps to work on that, Henry.
Yep.
And he's been working away at where was best to maybe challenge. He's finally worked it out, and now he's by Chloe McGill, who now has Benedictus Masiokas. That's the next driver lining up. LBJ Stubbs not far behind, and Lewis Herbertson onto the tail of them as well.
Yeah, is that Herbertson in the sort of the blue, the light blue Ambition Motorsport liveried kart. But again, Buddy Hugo runs a little bit wide coming through compression corner. That's going to make him susceptible to a potential move down the Dragon Straight because he's lost a little bit of momentum. Now, does he defend or will McGill continue to push?
She seemed to have momentum, didn't she?
Yeah, she continues to push, but Hugo was sort of taking a defensive line, and that's going to leave McGill open to attack here from Benedictus Masiokas.
That's the same move as Buddy Hugo pulled on Chloe McGill. She's going to have to watch that in for the rest of this weekend for sure. She's kind of she's taking the textbook line.
Yep. But
and she's leaving herself vulnerable on that inside line for people to sneak by, and we've seen that now. Alfie Mayr did it. So did Buddy Hugo, and now Benedictus Masiokas has done it, and we've got 2 drivers lining up, LBJ Stubbs and Lewis Herbertson, and if she's not careful, they're going to watch and have seen that, and they're going to know that that's the line she takes.
Yeah, but on the flip side, she hasn't sort of defended and lost ground. She's still in right in the thick of the battle for second position. So this is second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth going up the hill. And yeah, now McGill alters her line ever so slightly because we are getting down to the second half of this race, but taking a wide line there, side by side in front of them, and that was Benedictus Masiokas passing Buddy Hugo, who loses momentum, and McGill thinks about a move as she approaches the downhill section, but then backs out of it.
Yeah, looking very vulnerable there for a moment, did Buddy Hugo, having to let Masiokas by because he pulled alongside and he had the optimum line. Masiokas now into second place, chasing after his teammate Alfie Mayr. It's a Zip Kart 1-2. Great news for Earl and Tuesday. They'll be happy with this first heat so far. However, Hugo's coming back, and McGill's still there, aren't they? Still, McGill and LBJ Stubbs, they're not far behind. And if these 2 karts there, the 2 yellow karts, if they trip over one another, and I think they're about to actually, as I say that, down towards the carousel now, we've got 5-kart train.
Yep.
Whose second place is it? It could be any one of these 5.
Yeah, and you can see the black number plate on LBJ Stubbs' car. That means, because the last time I commentated on Albie was at the Dubai O plate in January, and he was still a Bambino then, so he's just moved out of Bambino into the sort of the bigger classes, the Micro Max class this time around. 20 seconds to go, so this should be the penultimate lap, and Alfie Mayr is 3 seconds up the road, 2.1 seconds up the road, but it's chopping and changing for second every corner.
It is. They're looking over their shoulders. There's sometimes people there, and then there's sometimes no drivers there at all, and it's a little bit off-putting. Down towards the carousel, it's side by side now. Masiokas and Hugo on the outside. He's got the line. If he stays there, no. What I was about to say is Masiokas had the line if he stayed there on the inside, and Hugo has to give way to him. Chloe McGill, she's kind of playing the opportunist card there, isn't she? Just waiting for these 2 to trip over one another. Didn't quite come off for her, and they're getting towards the final few corners of this lap. It'll be the 1 lap to go board that they see. Alfie Mayr already underneath it, but there's this battle for second. This one's going to rage all the way to the checkered flag.
Oh yeah, so we're on the final lap now, and the black crash helmet of Benedict Masiokas there, defending, going up the hill. Buddy Hugo on that very bright sort of luminous yellow and black number 11 kart, and Buddy gets a good line out of that corner, but then has to defend a little bit from Chloe McGill. LBJ Stubbs and Lewis Herbertson just sitting and maybe waiting for an opportunity to present itself, but not forcing the issue just yet.
Here we go then. It'll be checkered flag very soon for Alfie Mayer. He's about 3 seconds up the road here. But we can't take our eyes off this battle for second. It's going to go all the way to the flag. We need a mistake from Masiokas, I think, and that's not going to come as Masiokas takes the checkered flag in second. Chloe McGill's delighted with fourth. Look at that.
Well,
Buddy Hugo in third. Chloe McGill punching the air in third. She's had a great race.
Yeah.
And you know what? Where did she come from on the grid?
Well, she was 18th in the final at Wilton Mill, and she's 30th in the championship. So that's that's probably at least her best result of the season.
She was delighted with that, and let's just remind ourselves where she was. She started on the front row.
Yeah,
again, very good in the wet. I think that was a very damp qualifying session for these drivers. Right, let's get our breath back. Let's have a look at the top 10. Alfie Mayer takes the win in what was very commanding style, I've got to say. Benedictus Masiokas was second, Buddy Hugo third, Chloe McGill fourth, Albie J. Stubbs was fifth. Then we had Lewis Herbertson, Logan Rolfe, Elijah West was in eighth, Lewis Kirkconnell ninth, Toby Biggs 10th. I've got time to look at the rest of them. Alfie Garrett 12th, Deanne Singh Pahal was next, Jensen Walker 14th, Matthew Lilly, Freddie Blackshaw ahead of Sebastian Crawford 16th and 17th, Jamie Walsh 18th, Jack Mellon, Victor Poppercull, Travis Giddings, Carter Jackson, Ronnie Faulkner, Ruben Segu, Zach Andrew we lost on lap 2 unfortunately.
Yeah, but a quick word just about our pole sitter, Logan Rolfe, finishing 7th, but oh dear, I was commentating when Logan was just a bump.
Really?
Gary and Kelly Rolfe, Logan's parents,
Yes.
Gaz Rolfe, Vital Motorsport fame, who ran, amongst others, Bobby Thompson, British Touring Car star, as a junior driver when Vital Motorsport were...
he ran Bobby Thompson as a junior karter?
Yes. Wow. So, now Gary is that old. Obviously, Kelly, his lovely wife, is far younger.
Who's Bobby Thompson?
Bobby Thompson is now about 24, 25.
We did some iRacing through COVID.
Yes.
We had quite a high level of... We had British Touring Car grid.
Yep.
We even had Lando Norris join us for one night, a couple of nights.
Yeah.
And Bobby was good fun.
Yeah, indeed. Ooh.
He's done a couple of sports car races as well.
Yes. Very, very, very fast.
So you're that old, Henry? Remembering Bobby Thompson?
I'm that old. I did Bobby's PR for some time in karting and British Touring Cars. And yes. And, it's when drivers that I commentated on as cadets are saying, they are, they're celebrating their 30th birthday, or this is our children. Fantastic.
I've got some comments that have come through. Thanks to Gazberry, who is listening back at home. He's there with his father-in-law Duncan, who's just recovering. So get well soon, Duncan. I hope you're still with us. And Gaz is giving me a little bit of a backup here with a bit of YouTube comment.
Excellent.
So Ian McCarthy, is that Henry Baudet with you, Joe?
Unfortunately, yes, he is.
Yes, he is. He drew the short straw. He's filling in for Nick while Nick's at his daughter's wedding. We've got Jan Brun Anderson. We were all immortal at that age. I'm not sure what age group she's talking about, but let's say under 15, under 16, of course. Even me, when I was ripping it in an old moped across the fall fields with just an eggshell for a helmet.
Yes,
we remember that. And all very, good luck, Harry Hurst-Grover from Emma, Simon Beckett, Marie Bath, good luck, Ethan, Zach and Toby Turner. Hello, Zach and Toby.
Afternoon.
And their dad, John. This is good championship, this, guys. I think Zach's on his head looking at the British champs, to be honest. And Lucy Beamish, good luck, Albie J. Thanks for that, Gaz.
But now that's one round of heats already cycled through, so each driver has now got half of their heat points for the championship have been decided, sort of. They at the end of this next series of races, that's when the championship combines the two sets of results into an intermediate classification, and then championship points are dished out. 40 for top of the intermediate classification based on the overall two heat results.
Right, we've got our cadets out next. And it
Yes.
will be another standing start.
Pink
for us,
Floyd,
Henry.
like Pink Floyd said, the distant rumble of thunder.
I can't believe we're already through everyone's had their first heat.
Yeah,
The time has flown.
Yes, indeed. But we've got plenty more time to go, and of course tomorrow, the Karting Live TV are going to be bringing, and myself and Joe are going to be bringing you all the super heats of the finals live tomorrow.
So we basically have another couple of heats packed in before the lunch break. I think it's before lunch break. And then after lunch, I might be wrong, and that might be another super heat. Hang on, talk amongst yourselves. Yes, so we've got the two
Super heat one, super heat two,
and then the lunch break due at about 1:30, and then we finish off with our finals. So more of this, and as you explained, Henry, not only does how you finish here in the heats offer you championship points at the end of the second heat, but it's also we form the grid for the super heats.
Yes,
So
yeah.
I kind of like that format, actually.
Yeah, no, I mean, this morning there was a bit of practice, and then we had qualifying, and then if you can't take time off school on a Friday, for example, even though a lot of these kids, they do get letters from school to say that they can take off, and you can see the Minerva logo up there because some of these kids are doing online learning. That's practice, qualifying, and 2 heat races. Then another 2 like super heats tomorrow and a final. That's a lot of track time over a weekend, which is key for the juniors. It's key for these under 16s. Get as much time in the seat as possible.
That's where it is. It's all about time in the seat. Kevin Ivanoff, I remind you, qualified on pole with Ryan White, current British champion, carrying the number 1. Alongside these two, had a cracking battle in that first heat. Archie Cannon and Archie Loveridge on row 2. Magiris Kuvekis and Ed Spain on row 3, Riley Blakemore and Cian Sullivan row 4, row 5 is Elliot Bork, Luke McGall, Ella Dixon and Ronnie Smart are next, and then Tyler Banks, Ralphie Branscombe, Albie Smith, Jack Wex, Ollie Knox, Ashton Horspool. We're still clearing the grid, so I've got time. Ashton Horspool, Daniel Barton, Luke Jardine, Ricky McIntosh in 21st, Jane Prakash, Noah Clark, Finley Thursfield, Harley Bradbury Stretton 25th, Jacob Letherby, Oliver Ratton, Otto Arney, Freddie Budd, and then a bunch of novices there. Sophie Morris, Rebecca Ristall, James Pearson, Jerry Duffy and Reggie Duffy, rounding off what is a 34-cart field.
No, I did notice that Jerry beat Reggie in the Battle of the Dufficies in heat number 1.
Well spotted.
Yeah,
we'll keep an eye on that.
It's bragging rights for the way home. If you've
Absolutely.
if you've got a sibling in the same race as you,
Absolutely.
Now the mechanics are being given a bit of hurry up because they're all sitting and waiting. There's a green flag at the back of the field, which is round the corner here at Glan Gors, but it's Ivanov and White on the front row, and the board. They're happy that the grid is cleared. A couple of drivers looking around. Look at the lights. Lights go out. No, they don't. Now they do.
A bit of a jump start in the second row there.
Yeah, but everyone's away cleanly, and it looks like Ivanov has managed to maintain the advantage. I think that's a Zip livery kart. It is indeed. Yeah. Ivanov with the number 50 kart leading Ryan White up towards Spoon, but behind them, 33 other drivers will all try and file round this corner, and some of them doing it 3 and 4 wide, and some of them trying to do it backwards.
Yeah, not good for the back of the field. Was that the Duffeses there, just gathering themselves
that could have been both of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Being caught up in someone else's incident there, in fairness. Not their fault at all, having to spin in avoidance.
Yep.
Meanwhile, back at the front, we've got Kevin Ivanoff with Ryan White, as we've come to expect, glued almost to his rear bumper. Bit of a gap, and then the number 43 or is that 73? I'm going to wait until they file through. And then, no, it was Archie Cannon. Was the 42 in third. Magiris Kuvekis fourth. Then we've got Archie Loveridge, Riley Blakemore, Ed Spain, Cian Sullivan, Ronnie Smart, and Ralphie Branscombe. That's your top 10.
And of course, looking at the livery, that is the Project 1 racing livery on that number 1 kart of Ryan White. And, obviously we lost Project 1's Gerard Cox just a short while ago. And, I want to just say a big hello to the whole Project 1 family and Gerard's family, the loyal karting supporters for decades, and his funeral service, the amount of he asked all former drivers to bring their crash helmets with them, and there was a fantastic display there at Gerard's funeral, which was very good.
Very
indeed.
nice.
Yeah,
the celebration of life, I think, is what we call
exactly,
it,
and
it really is. It did a lot for karting.
So every time you see the Project 1 racing, there's the driver, Ryan White, looking over his shoulder. And he's looking over his shoulder because he now knows, okay, I've got 5 or 6 kart lengths between myself, but he hasn't any more. I can afford to go offline and make one move without getting freight trains.
Yeah, and I did think that Ryan White might have thought about perhaps having a go for that lead. It's still very early days, very, very early days. We're just coming up to half distance already, so we've still got a chunk of time, just 4.5 minutes still on the clock, and easy to do where we saw there Kevin Ivanov just getting a little bit wide at the compression.
Yep.
And these carts beginning to slide around, Henry. James, is it raining outside? No, I've been told not.
It's so cold and the cloud cover is so low that you can almost feel moisture in the air. But it's
I'm feeling a bit cold in here actually.
Yes.
you're against the door.
I'm against the door. But I'm only the hired help.
As you get more experience with the Kart Live TV, you move further into the room.
Right. Yes, I see. Yeah, I'm just a hired help for the weekend. Well, they say he probably thought, well, no, he's Welsh, so he's used to being freezing cold.
He'd be absolutely in the rain.
Fine, yeah.
Absolutely. This is a cracking Honda Cadet battle. 4-kart train now. And you know what, everybody? I know, yes, we'd like to look at the other drivers in the field. However, when the battle at the front is like this, 4-kart train here, just biding their time. I call this high-speed chess, Henry.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, they're so clever, these kids.
They're sort of feeling each other out. They're not just sitting there and following. They're learning. They're looking every single corner. Where's my kart slightly better than my rival? Where am I losing a bit of time? Which line is working for this driver? Maybe I'll try that. And that's an outside line that's not working at all. No. Ivanov. That's the second time he's done that in 2 races.
How many times have we seen drivers do that? It must be, you know what, that braking area, you can't see the corner, what you're braking for. And that's a little bit off-putting. You've got to trust your timing when you put the brake on going over the brow. And that's what we saw Ivanov do again.
And it's every time we've seen that happen today, it's been because the race lead has been under pressure. So the leader has been thinking, I've got to push because they're right behind me. Oh dear, and that can happen.
Yeah, it is. And Ivanov, he did it in heat number 1. He's done it again in heat number 2. He came back in heat number 1. Let's see if he can. As we're getting a challenge from Kavekis on Archie Cannon. Archie Cannon absolutely glued to Ryan White's bumper.
Yeah, Kavekis.
Again, he's just sort of, right, all right. Ivanov fell off, and he's now down in 4th. Ryan White says, yeah, okay, I can do the job of a leader, and he is. He's leading everybody around.
Well, he's realised that even if he tries to make a move on Ryan White now, White's kart is so well set up, White's got such pace that he thinks, well, if I pass, then I'm not going to pull away. I'm just going to get dragged into a huge battle, and that's going to bring more and more people into the lead group. At the moment, there's a lead group of 4, but with Ed Spain, Riley Blakemore, Ralphie Branscombe, Cian Sullivan not a million miles away, if these 4 started battling too much now, suddenly we could have an 8 or 9 kart battle for the race lead. As I say that, though, wow. Archie Cannon says, time to go, he does.
That was incredible. Archie Cannon, that move started at the final turn of that previous lap. Yes. That was incredible. He came because he lost ground to Ryan White through the twisty bits, compression, etc., got through the final turn. He had a gap that he could plough into and go through a clubhouse turn and all the way up the straight. Before they got to the braking area, Cannon was alongside Ryan White, and Ryan White can't do anything about that.
Well, look at now Ryan White is trying to do the same thing that Cannon.
He needs a bit of a gap. He needs more of a gap there, or else he's going to come bump. There he is. He's kind of being tripped up, so that momentum is stifled by the kart in front of you.
Yes, because you could see him almost like forcing. What the driver in second place wants to do going into that last corner is force the leader or force the driver they're chasing to defend. That then slows them all the way up to this point here. So Cannon was wise to Ryan White's tactics there. So we got less than a minute to go. Ivanov, Kavekis. Still there now. They're coming up on slower traffic again.
Heavens.
So you've got Jerry and Reggie Jefferson. You've also got James Pearson directly in front of them. They're the 3 karts they are closing in on. They're having their own private battle.
They are.
Intra-novice battle for 31st position. And
Jerry's just got ahead of Reggie, by the way, in that novice.
And the leaders are about to bear down upon them. Oh, and there's the number 23 kart off the side of the circuit. That's Finley Thursfield trying to get the kart out of the mud, and that's not going to happen. Here are the back markers, and here are the leaders.
Oh, and there's the leaders right in amongst it now. The blue flags will be waving, and it's Ryan White. Is that Ryan White back into the lead? It is indeed. And there, who's that? The number
That's
50
Ivanov.
Where's Archie Cannon gone? Where is Archie
Third,
Cannon?
and a lead change in traffic. Ivanov dies at the inside as they negotiate the second of those 3 karts to retake the race lead.
Incredible driving there, and back markers came into play as we thought they might. Those drivers are having their own. They're having their own race. They don't have to move out of the way. They stay on the line, and this is once again Ryan White back into the lead. How did he do that out of our sight there? We were watching that picture, and they just meld together, don't they?
Yes.
He's the last opportunity at Spoon Corner. No, and look at that. That's how tight this is, and that's the tripping over one another I was talking about. And look at that, the number 50 of Ivanov being disadvantaged to an extent and about to lose 2 places.
But if they're not, and look at the 5th and 6th place drivers. Spain and Branscombe are closing in. I think it's going to come a little bit too late with just half a lap to go. They head down the hill. A couple of raindrops on the camera. That's not affecting grip levels at the moment. But Cannon will try and set White up for a move into this corner and can't quite get it done. And Ryan White crossed the line to take the race win by 80. Now, we had an 88 hundredth of a second victory margin of victory a couple of races ago. That's an 87 hundredths of a second margin of victory. I think I said that right.
They've delivered. They've done exactly what they said on the tin. They said, we are cadet karters. This is what we can do. The Honda cadets are absolutely awesome to watch. And once again, I mean, what did we have there? 4 or 5 karts there across the line. Absolutely covered by 7/10 of a second, the first 5.
Yeah, and
that's incredible.
I used to race a senior Honda, a twin-engine pro karts, where they were Honda GX 160s. These are Honda GX 200s, but this is the class that Alex Albon started in. You know, because you have.
You're that old, are you?
Yeah,
Really
yes.
Old,
all right, you know, I started when I was a young motorsport journalist listening to Radio Le Mans, and there was a certain voice on there that I remember.
My first kart race was Alan McNish's first race in seniors.
Oh, wow.
In 1986.
Oh, my word.
I am that old, yes. Yes. Quick rundown of the top 10 then in the Honda Cadets second heat. Ryan White takes the win, Archie Cannon second, Kevin Ivanov was third, Magiris Kavekis was fourth, Ralphie Branscombe fifth, sixth was Ed Spain, Riley Blakemore seventh, eighth was Archie Loveridge, Kean Sullivan was ninth, 10th was Albie Smith. You mentioned the American Le Mans series, and I thought, Alan McNish was this skinny little kid who came into seniors from juniors as the British junior champion, blitzed everybody.
Yep.
I was astounded by how he could break into the hairpin at Rowra, the old Rowra, the short track.
The short track.
And there I was, years later, interviewing him, winning Sebring and the like, and Petit Le Mans and the like. And I reminded him of him. I said, "Can you remember lapping me in one of the heats at Rowra?" And he said, "You know what he said?" He said, "No." Right.
But he did it with a genial smile on his face. I believe he won the race of the century, didn't he? The race of the millennium in Adelaide. They painted an Audi and a crocodile.
Yeah, that was a race I don't want to talk about because I couldn't make it. I couldn't get time off work.
Oh,
dear. And I don't know, every month going to America to do the American Le Mans series, and then they come out with this great idea of, hey, let's go to Australia 2 days before Christmas Eve and come back on the 5th of January. 1, I had a wife and kids. 2, I had a job. That was like, how long do you want? No.
Last race on the original Adelaide layout before they truncated it.
Yes.
We digress.
Yes. Back to the junior primos.
Yes.
I've become a big fan of junior primos, Henry.
Yes.
It's a great idea. It can be a bit daunting for the younger drivers to jump straight from an Intermax or an Intercadet or even a Micromax into juniors. You're racing against lads of 15 and 16 years old. You know, when you're at school and you're 12 and 13 and you look at those lads in the 5th and 6th years of school and you go and play football or rugby with them and you just kind of
daunted by
by the physicality of it.
Yes.
That physicality is exactly what is happening on track.
Yeah, and also, I mean, obviously, one of our drivers that was in here earlier, young Mr. Stewart.
Yeah.
Speaking to his mum, said that this is great because number one, he's still learning how to be aggressive, but number two, there's a certain budgetary increase in terms of the more competitive, sort of the faster, say faster, but the more competitive junior road tax class. If you can't be out every weekend, then coming to junior primo, because they're saying, look, we race twice a month. That's what we can do.
Yes,
and this is great for
is that
Eddie.
what Laura was saying?
Yeah, and it's great for Eddie because he can learn, without the pressure being on so much to on getting beaten about. But here we go. There's a starting lineup, is there not, Joe?
Do you want to have a go through?
I'll try. Thank you very much. Bella Fairclough will lead us to the line. Daniel Hartley, who won the opening Junior Primo encounter, will be on the outside of row number 1. Ellis Dealey and Maya Simpson on row number 2. Alfie Forrester and Leighton Kelly will go from row 3. Tyler Davis and Zach Kane are next. Then it's Ethan Barth and Ewan Stevenson. Thomas Butcher and the aforementioned occasional co-commentator Eddie Stewart on row number 6. Oscar Pitt and Sophia Caldwell. Hopefully Sophia can make the race this time. Laurie McVeigh, Jack Johnson and Riley Mason Lewis. That would be the full 17 kart lineup. Hopefully all 17 drivers are out there as they take the line. Yes, they do. I think they don't. They're still warming the tyres. I thought I saw a signal from the start line official saying that they were going to go around again. That was Bella Fairclough being somewhat overly enthusiastic at the start.
That flag marshal on the rise there, he's going to have to invoice us because he's becoming a bit massive assistance.
Yes,
to us,
he's
becoming a massive assistance to our broadcast of being us able to tell when we have a false start.
Yes, the green R.
Who's that?
Is that not Mr. Forrester again? And
who's that off as well?
That's the number
63, 65?
It's the number 85, kart of Oscar Pitt. Who is
making his way back up the grid down the middle. We've all done it.
Now, once again, so for the second time of asking, Hartley, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, and Fairclough in the bright yellow liveried machine will come into the tram lines. And now they'll get the signal. Now the lights go out. Now we're off and racing. And Fairclough again gets a little bit left at the start. It's Hartley and Maya Simpson who take the lead.
She got caught out massively there. At the point where she should have been watching the lights, she was looking at Daniel Hartley. And the two karts on the left-hand side of the track were able to get the jump. And that was Maya Simpson who went through with Daniel Hartley as well. And I think that's Bella Fairclough coming back at the number 96 of Simpson. So it's an all-girl battle for second. Daniel Hartley was the prime of the primo in the first heat, wasn't he? He was absolutely unbeatable. No one could catch him. And once again, as he just threads his way through the final few curves here at Glan and crosses the line, he will cross the line in the lead by about 0.4 of a second.
And this is going to be, because in race number 1, so Bella Fairclough kept Daniel Hartley honest, finishing 1.3 seconds behind and taking a fast lap of the race. Maya Simpson, she was back trying to hold off, I'm trying to think who Tyler Davis for third position, and they finished about 8 seconds behind Hartley and Fairclough, and we did sort of surmise that Maya Simpson was probably a bit quicker than that, but was having to drive slightly defensively to keep Tyler Davis at bay. This is an opportunity to see how close Maya is to the outright race pace of Hartley and Fairclough, who were the class of the field in heat number 1.
Well, she's certainly showing Bella Fairclough a clean pair of heels, a clean bumper, puts her head down, gets behind the fairing there just to gain a little speed, and it does work. It absolutely does work as Bella Fairclough comes right onto a bumper in the braking area there. The bright yellow kart now challenging Maya Simpson.
Anything to improve aerodynamic efficiency. If you just hunker down behind that NASA panel, the airflow over the top of your crash helmet is that little bit better. Hey, if it gains you 1,000th, 2,000th of a second, then that's great, because over the course of the race, that could become 100th of a second, and we have seen kart races decided by less than 100th of a second on numerous occasions. Now, behind this second place battle, so Hartley now beginning to pull away, there's a big gap developing behind the second place battle.
Oh, down the inside, Henry. Down the inside has gone Bella Fairclough. She's been lining that move up, hadn't she? I know you were focusing. We were about to focus on that cracking battle for third. However, as we were about to talk about then, Bella Fairclough made the move. Now then, can she stay ahead of Maya Simpson? Or is she going to pull away? If she pulls away, we're going to be able to have a look at that battle for fourth and fifth. I think that's fourth down to 12th or something, that battle behind.
It's fourth down to everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah. Coming out of Compression Corner into Pitts Bend, which is the official name for that, the last corner. But, Fairclough and Simpson still locked together, second and third. They have a 4-second gap back to the scrap between 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. Oh, now Simpson runs a little bit wide. Fairclough runs a little bit wide going into Spoon, but managed to hold on. That will increase Daniel Hartley's advantage. But Maya Simpson, now that she hasn't got to defend, she can match Bella Fairclough for pace.
I always used to like to chase rather than be chased.
Oh yeah, I would
it's
much
kind of
prefer
and kind of if you feel like you've got the pace, it's tricky to get by, of course, but a little bit less of a sort of a less stressful. Let's call it.
Also, I preferred to chase than be chased, because that was more to do with the fact that I'd lose my bottle when I rose in the race lead.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Yeah, absolutely.
On the rare occasion it did happen.
Yeah.
I'm not used to this clear track in front of me. What do I do?
Bella Fairclough, it's her choice first when to brake.
Yes.
And you just feel the need to go a little bit quicker and maybe push it into the braking area and end up making a mistake. And I talk about these drivers being very composed behind the wheel, and that's perhaps what I'm talking about, is how they maintain their composure. And Bella Fairclough's a pretty experienced driver, as is Maya Simpson, and both of these karters will know that once they get ahead, there's no mirrors on karts.
No.
So just keep looking forward, and then it's up to the person behind, it's up to the driver behind to get by you. You don't have to, you just keep your line, and if they're that much quicker, they will get by. And Maya Simpson isn't that much quicker, so she's struggling to get by, and that gives us great racing as ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Down the hill they go now. A good camera shot there just to give you an idea of just how steep the elevations are and how continual the elevations are, because even Dragon Straight, that's still got a couple of crests and rises and the dips and rises of the straight here, because obviously we're in an area of Wales where the winters are cold and harsh, some of the springs and the summers sometimes, but of course that does mean the tarmac is very porous. The tarmac, it's not smooth, it's not billiard table smooth.
Well, it's a proper track.
Yes.
I do like Glan. It looks like a car racing track rather than a car track.
Yeah,
because of the undulations, because of the layout, the greenery, the backdrop. It's a fabulous, fabulous location. I mean, that's why people buy holiday cottages here, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. Because
North Wales, beautiful area.
It is a beautiful area. It can be, not for the faint-hearted when the weather turns, but we'll hopefully not have to worry about that. But here's the battle for fourth place now on our screens. That's Alfie Forrester in the 79. The 83 is Tyler Davis, that sort of turquoise coloured machine. And then the blue number 16 is Ellis Dealey, the red crash helmet looking over his shoulder there. Now, Tyler Davis spent most of Heat 1 sitting directly behind another kart, trying to fight his way through. He's in exactly the same position here, or even though the kart in front of him is different. Yeah,
and just behind these two, actually, we've got Ellis Daly and Eddie Stewart.
Yes.
There's Eddie Stewart there, the blue kart with the blue overalls. Now, just a couple of corners ago, Eddie was right on the bumper of Ellis Daly, and now he's dropped away a little bit. So Eddie Stewart, of course, was popped into the booth and took Henry's job from him.
Potentially permanently.
And he is, potentially. Eddie Stewart back to where I'm not sure if he prefers to be out there, actually, or commentating. He does enjoy commentating, does Eddie?
Don't keep telling him how good he is and how much he's improving, just to keep him in the seat for a bit
longer. Keep him in the seat, yes.
Job security on my end.
Yeah, keep racing, Eddie. He is chasing down Ellis Daly ahead of him. And then it's Tyler Davis. You can see the bright yellow rear bumper of Davis with Alfie Forrester on the bright orange kart. Forrester, again, composure under pressure, isn't it? It really is, as Davis struggling really to get on terms there. Oh, he found momentum there to get
Yes.
himself a little bit alongside, but not alongside enough to really make it matter.
No, but and of course now you could see there where he had a little almost like a little nibble on the rear bumper of Forrester's kart, but then backed out of it so he didn't get involved in a collision, and you just saw how much momentum or how much time he lost going down the rest of the downhill section, but then how much time he regains in the slipstream, because this is now the final lap.
Yeah, and these what was two card battles is now one 4-card battle, and we're still tripping over one another.
Yes.
It's still Alfie Forrester, Tyler Davis, Ellis Daly and Eddie Stewart, and now Eddie Stewart looking for that opportunity maybe of these three potentially about to trip over one another. We've got the checkered flag out for Daniel Hartley, Bella Fairclough in second and Maya Simpson in third place, and it does finish as it stood. Alfie Forrester, Tyler Davis, Ellis Daly, Eddie Stewart seventh, and then we have Thomas Butcher, Ewan Stevens and Zach Kane, Laurie McVeigh 11th, Oscar Pitt 12th, 13th was Ethan Bath, Jack Johnson, Riley Mason Lewis, Sophie Caldwell, and a full quarter of karts finishing this race there.
Yes.
Leighton Kelly, it was that finished in 17th.
Yeah, so it's good. So we had one driver non-start the first heat, and then a couple more fallout. So the good news is that that's their last race of the day, and at least they finished the race. The worst thing is that you have a series of heat races, and then the last heat of the day, something goes wrong with the kart, or you have an accident, which means you've got to repair it overnight, or you're not quite sure then if for the main events on Sunday whether that kart will work or not.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got two more opportunities to improve on their grid for the final. These two heats today, the primary heats, will sort out the grid for the super heats.
Yes.
So we will conclude that this afternoon, and then tomorrow morning we're back live with you at 10 a.m. on Karting Live TV. And from there...
Question for our viewers, do the clocks go forward tomorrow?
No, it's next week.
It's next weekend, is it?
Yeah,
There we are then.
yeah.
I'm all...
You thought you were going to get extra...
I thought I was going to lose an hour's sleep.
It's one less hour of rain.
Yes. One less hour of rain.
That's next week, though.
Oh, that's there we go. So you can tell
it's also, when the clocks go forward, you wake up to chocolate eggs.
Apparently so, yes.
Apparently,
there's
the Easter Bunny. Is it the Easter Bunny or the Easter
it's
Easter
Easter
Fairy
Bunny.
that brings eggs?
It's Easter Bunny creates work for the Tooth Fairy. So the Easter Bunny brings the chocolate.
Yes.
That causes fillings and teeth to fall out.
It's all a con, isn't it? It's all commercialism.
And the Tooth Fairy, yes,
it's all commercialism. Yeah.
It's a cabal.
So
it's a cabal between Easter Bunnies and Tooth Fairies.
C50s are out next.
Yes.
The C50 Bambinos. Once again, I'm going to say this again. I'm always blown away by just how great these kids race. They're from the age of 6 to 8 years old. They're on the C50 Coma engine. Again, fixed sprocket gearing. A minimum weight of 71 kilograms. I mean, I'm over 71 kilograms by a fair few kilograms. But that's the kart that's needed there.
And hello to the person that's found our camera on the balcony there. But I have to say that they hold a special place in my heart, because the first ever MSA, now Motorsport UK, Bambino licensed club event was in February 2010 at Landau. With one Bambino. He was 8 on the Saturday. He was 6 on the Saturday. It was Alex Austin, the younger brother of a driver called Macaulay Austin. But because it was the first year where the MSA allowed sort of Bambino time trials to come into club.
Because they started with time trials.
And it was still a time trial then. It was still a time trial, but they allowed it to come into MSA club racing as it was then.
Yeah.
And I think the second weekend in February was the first of the year. We had a Bambino. We had one, the Bear, Alex Austin.
Yeah.
And it was,
and you were there for that?
I was there for that.
Really
I am. It was actually February 2009, because my son was born in May of 2009, and I've got a picture of him at about 6 weeks old in Alex Austin's Bambino kart.
Oh, yeah, just sizing him up.
Just sizing him up.
Yes.
Look, unfortunately, now he's 6'2", 14 years old, and thankfully far too tall for racing.
and yes, I know. I like that as well. My oldest grandson's far too tall for racing.
Yes.
And far too... To just not the build of a racer. However, my youngest grandson, who's 3, is going to be a perfect
Oh,
because he's a nutter.
yeah,
So I'm already sizing him up for a Bambino.
no sense of feeling if you go fast.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the grid then for our second heat. It's the same grid lineup. It'll be a standing start once again for the Bambinos. Ernie Wade on the pole position with Noah Wicklow alongside. Second row is Arthur Bowers and Ollie West again doing dual duties. He's going to be 4 races under his belt by the time we get to tea time. Arlo Gamble and Jess Bailey are on row 3, and then we've got Will Wainwright and Lewis Wilson on row 4. Row 5 is Logan Hodgetts and Calman Simon, and then we've got Henry Hales and Hendrix Fallat, who are starting on row 6. Row 7 is Riley Aston Wilkins, John Stevens alongside. Row 8 is Wraith Owen with Jack Swong alongside. Row 9 is Freddie Purnell and Nauman Faison. Max Armit and Max St. Hilaire are next up, and then rounding off the 22 kart field is Santo Amico and that man, or that youngster, Benjamin Shivar, who came from 22nd. I forget what he finished. Did he finish 6th?
He was 6th or 7th, yes.
Yes.
And I was just saying, I was hoping, hopefully that Calman Simon has got the number 12 kart fixed. We saw him lead and then drop out, and you can
That's
just
right,
see
yes.
underneath the big GYG karting board,
Yep.
you can see the nose cone of Salmon's kart there, the 5th kart on the outside row. So yes, that's good to see. That obviously, whatever the problem was that afflicted
Yep.
that kart in the first heat has been resolved, hopefully permanently. And now there's the signal for
Clear the
mechanics
grid.
to clear
What
the grid.
what we've managed to do at my home track at Warden Law, the collecting area is at turn 1,
Yes.
and we have this fabulous Bambino parents running race
Oh, yeah,
as
yeah,
they
yeah.
come down the straight
Is that-
towards the grid.
Turn 1. That's just by the Joe Bradley.
Joe Bradley
Suites.
Memorial Suite. Yes, that's right.
The first time we'll talk about the go-karting.
Yeah, we've
but
got, because we're racing, we've gone green, or at least the lights have gone out, and we're almost too wide for 3rd place there as the field stream up the hill towards Spoon. We've got Noah Wicklow and Ernie Wade leading the carts up. Have we got an incident there, Henry?
In the middle of the pack there, that was rear tyre to rear tyre. And a couple of drivers having to take evasive action. One driver marooned on the grass. I couldn't quite get the number checked. Sorry to interrupt, Joe, but yes.
No.
When you suddenly see karts deviating from their intended course in the middle of a pack, you do start to panic a little bit. But apart from the one driver looking backwards, and there's an incident marshal heading to the scene. And up front, well, that's... Ernie Wade who has got? I think Ernie Wade may have dropped back. Arthur Bowers in the number 98 kart is there in. Now is he the leader? Or is he the driver in 3rd
Is that
position?
the 3rd place? Yeah, the number 98.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw Bowers going really well at
Yeah.
the leading heat one, didn't we? Anyway, they crossed the line, Henry, so we can fathom out who's
Noah
where.
Wicklow who's got the race lead.
And Ollie West has done the same. Yellow flags fly on the straight towards Spoon.
And yeah, so you can, and now that's the driver. That was Nauman Faison getting back into the race, and he's going to get swamped by the lead pack. And there's 2 drivers at the back.
That's Will Wainwright there. I think he was caught out on the brakes there, wasn't he? We got a bit crowded up there.
Yeah, because you had the slower driver, and there's the 44. That's Nauman Faison going for another rotation. He was sort of making his way up the hill, and then 2 karts into one just didn't go. But 2 karts into one do go there because it's side by side for the lead, Joe.
And Ollie West on the outside of Noah Wicklow. Wicklow, though, I thought he was holding him back. He has not. That's Ollie West in the green helmet. That has gone through and into the lead. He will lead across the line to complete 2 laps. And is it Ollie West? We're just going to have that confirmed. I think that's Ollie West in the green helmet. Crosses the line ahead of Noah Wicklow. It's Jess Bailey, Arlo Gamble, Ernie Wade, Lewis Wilson, Arthur Bowers, John Stevens, Henry Hills, Logan Hodgetts. Whereas Will Wainwright comes through in 17th after being in that top 5. So that's tragedy for Wainwright with that spin.
Yep, just in front of Santo Amico and then Max St. Hilaire and Hendrix Fallat. But now, the top 2 have worked together. They have pulled clear. West and Wicklow are I was going to say Wicklow is a county in front of the rest of the chasing pack. Sorry, everyone. Jesse Bailey, Arlo Gamble, and Ernie Wade. That's a great scrap for third place. And you can see the sun has now decided to make an appearance over the thing. But there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 11, 12 drivers all squabbling over third. And that's good news for Will Wainwright, because he can catch that pack in the remaining 4 minutes plus a lap of this race and maybe salvage a half-decent result.
Well, just ahead of Wainwright is Benjamin Shivar, who's come from 22nd, and last time through he was 16th. Will Wainwright was racing with Shivar last weekend at Wardlaw, so those two drivers know each other well. They may be able to come through the field together. Meanwhile, at the front, Noah Wicklow is not allowing Ollie West any breathing space whatsoever, is he?
No.
He's right there on his bumper. And as these two have pulled away, we've got a two-card battle developing for third and fourth. That's Jess Bailey and Ernie Wade. We just get a glimpse of them as they come into our view.
Yes.
And then behind them is everyone.
Behind them
is everyone.
Arthur Bowers is going a bit slower than he would like, because he certainly dropped back a little bit. There's side-by-side action for third place. A 77 cart of Jesse Bailey's now been passed by Ernie Wade, so put the black and red, or sort of the luminous orange and black number 11 cart into P3 as they complete lap number 4. And this will be a great example. Now look at Bailey. Bailey is literally pushing Wade down Dragon Straight, and that is helping them open the gap back to fifth place driver Louis Wilson. If it's Lewis or Louis, I'm sure the parents will correct us as they do.
They don't know where we are, though.
Yeah.
We're hidden. We're hidden at Glanico.
But yeah, the gap that they improve with eight wheels working together are much better and much faster than 4 wheels working on their own.
Yeah, a little bit of a difference of opinion through the carousel there, different line there from both of those drivers. However, they come out with on the same piece of tarmac together. Behind them, there's all sorts of races breaking out there. 4 carts going almost 4 wide there as they go through the twisty bits through Devil's Elbow and into the compression. However, things remain the same. Ollie West still leads. Noah Wicklow second. Ernie Wade and Jesse Bailey continue that battle, as does Louis Wilson and Logan Hodgetts. They're together. So 2 carts battling for first and second. Third and fourth are having their own private battle as well. And now 5th and 6th doing likewise. Side by side goes Logan Hodgetts on Lewis Wilson.
Yeah, and it's Hodgetts on the inside with the green and orange bumper, and I think they were still side by side. They're still side by side up the hill. Great driving there, respectful racing between both Wilson and Hodgetts there. It's Hodgetts in front of the 63 cart, Lewis Wilson. That's the Tim Wilson Motorsports liveried entry, and great driving. That's a fantastic example of how to give each other enough racing room, be competitive, be aggressive, but remember that there's another go-kart alongside you.
And these are 6 to 8 year olds.
Yes, these are 6 to 8 year olds.
These drivers can teach the pros a thing or two in racecraft. You don't have to drive into one another. You don't have to crash into one another.
Exactly.
You can allow people room to race around you, and that's what we see all the time. Bambino's always blow my mind, Henry. Always.
And still side by side for the second time for third place between, that's West and Wicklow, the 2 leaders. And of course, the more time you spend side by side, the more time you cost yourselves. But it's a head-to-head scrap with the clock running down. There's the third place duo, Wade ahead of Bailey, and then it's again Hodgetts and Wilson, Purnell, Hales, Gamble, Bowers, Stevens, Owen, and the rest. Benjamin Schlivar has not gained as many places in this race as he did in race number 1, but still up from 22nd to 13th as we start the last lap here at Gors with the enthralled spectators and pushers, the Bambino dads with the orange jackets on, because they have to wear orange to go on to the circuit. But we wait for our race leader, who has managed to put a bit of a gap on Noah Wicklow to the top of the hill. And that looks like it's a game over in terms of the race, the battle of the race lead, and Ollie West has got this one in the bag.
That's the biggest gap we've seen pretty much all day, and whether Noah Wicklow can come back at him, I'm not sure, because time's run out basically. They're on the final lap of this race. If anything, Wicklow dropping back towards Ernie Wade and Jess Bailey. Let's see if in fact Ernie Wade and Jess Bailey really are catching Noah Wicklow, and if that looks like possibly Wicklow losing so much time, possibly a problem there, causing him to drop back off the rear bumper of Ollie West, who's about to become the winner, and he does. He drops back to fourth. So a problem there for Noah Wicklow, right there on the last lap there, Henry. Not sure what that could be. I'm not an expert on these Coleman C50s, but it was definitely something to do with the powertrain, or the power to the drivetrain, I should say.
Yeah, the power or lack thereof, because he didn't even try to defend. It was like, look, I'm going slower, so there's no point. If I hug the inside line, then you risk, sort of backing up the field and having a potential, incident. So again, heartbreaking for Noah Wicklow, but very, very mature as well, to not suddenly panic and think, no, I must defend. You think, okay, the game's up, I'm going to just get home in whatever position I can get home in, but the kart's going to be in one piece, so at least Dad only has to worry about, fixing, a potential mechanical problem, not a mechanical and a chassis problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Heads up driving there from Noah Wicklow, so commendable there. So let's have a quick rundown of the top 10 of the C50s. Ollie West takes the win, Ernie Wade second, Jess Bailey third, fourth is Noah Wicklow, Freddie Purnell is in fifth, Logan Hodgett sixth, Lewis Wilson seventh, eighth is Henry Hales, and Benjamin Shivar making his way from 22nd. This time he got up to ninth. Another fabulous drive from Benjamin Shivar. John Stevens rounds off the top 10. We are next out with the Junior Max. Now this one was an absolute chaotic race all the way down the order, with action all the way, as we thought. I mean, this is our primary class of racing here in the Kart Championship. We are here, round 2 at Glan. Just give you a reminder of the calendar. You are coming up to my hometown for round 3, Wardenlaw, at the end of April, 27th and 28th of April. Wardenlaw, just south of Sunderland. And then we go across country from the northeast coast to the northwest coast at the end of June, the 22nd and 23rd of June. We go to Rowrah for round 4. Round 5, the final round of the championship, will be taking place at Fulbeck, and that will be on the 13th and 14th of July. We've got our special MSUK Bambino event that takes place on the 6th and 7th of July, and that's at the PF International. Early finish for a championship, yes. Here in the Kart Championship, we get everything wound up by the middle of July. However, our Winter Series kicks off very, very relatively early, I should say. That kicks off on the 28th and 29th of September. And we start our first round of the 3-round Winter Series at Wilton Mill. We then go back up to Wardenlaw, again, back up to my hometown, 16th and 17th of November for the second round. And then the third round will take place on the 7th and 8th of December. And it's to be confirmed the venue of the third and final round of the Winter Series.
I have to say, a big hi to Matty Hunter, the entire Hunter family. I know that Kai and has joined forces with Reece.
Don't bother, he's not listening.
No, he's not listening.
He's not listening.
Oh,
I've just said.
Shocking scenes.
He's just turned us on, apparently.
Oh, there we go.
He said he had to turn us off. We were going on about powering Bambinos. Of course we were. That's our job.
Well, yes, we're paid to talk. As
I tell you what, he'd have to pay good money to get me and you as a team up there, wouldn't he?
Well, I mean, it's a long way. I mean, I can't wait to go back. I will be back at Wardenlaw this year. Hopefully,
for the British,
and possibly for I mean, I'd like to come back to this paddock because it's a great.
Well,
paddock.
Eddie Stewart's got the gig now.
Yeah, sorry. But one thing I mentioned, we mentioned Wardenlaw, the Joe Bradley Memorial Suite, which is the media centre at Wardenlaw. 2021, I go up there, and of course we meet, we start chatting and reminiscing as we do. The next year we go to there, and it had just been renamed the Joe Bradley Memorial Suite, and you weren't there because you were down in Wembley watching Sunderland getting promoted into the Championship.
Yes.
And of course I walked up and I saw Joe. Oh my God, he's not died, has he? The Memorial Suite? Oh no!
Future planning.
Future planning.
Yeah.
But
nobody else would do that for me when I die.
I would have thought the Joe Bradley Suite would have been just less panic-inducing for people that haven't seen you for a while.
Matt and Paul Bainbridge would come to my funeral, no doubt. However, 2 weeks later, if we would say, Joe Bradley, they'd go, who?
No.
So I thought, no, that's the Joe Bradley Memorial Suite. I actually got the idea off the commentary booth at Road Atlanta.
Okay.
When we first went to Road Atlanta for the first Petite Le Mans in 1998, there's a chap called Ed Conway was the resident commentator there. So we kind of moved in and took over, and he was a lovely bloke. And then I went back, many years later, for the historics.
Yes.
And I walked in, and the commentary box was the Ed Conway Memorial Suite.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, has Ed died? And I was told, no, he hasn't died. It's just with future planning.
Fair enough.
And I got caught out the same way as you got caught out. So I thought, I said to Matt, hey, I've got a name for the media suite. It's a lovely little commentary box. It's got a great view of turn 1. It's great. It's great for live streaming.
Yes. Yep.
It's not very good for just commentating from, because you're at turn 1, you can't see the track. So when I do the circuit comms there, I'm from the control
tower. Yes.
Timing and scoring.
But speaking of timing and scoring, we're about to take you through the timing and scoring from qualifying.
I'm not sure you're going to get through that grid,
Junior Rotax, because we've got we'll have a little go. It says Marcel Popocool and Jensen Pritchard on row 1, Henry Hurst Grover and Kaksper Tomalewski on row 2, Emily Cooper and James Kell are next, and Andrew Dixon and Max Horler, Ewan House and Braith Murdoch. That's your top 10. Then it's Logan House, Callum Ghosh, Lewis Summer and Addison Smith, with Jack Robinson rounding out the top 15. Ben Horner, John Buchan, Molly Pugh, Riley Morgan, Luke Sawyers, that's your top 20, and still there are more. Lewis Holt, Harrison Purnell, Charlie Very, Elliot Foster, Archie Doherty, Sam Green Gomez, Aston Brown, Gregor Reed, Aidan McDonnell, and then the 3 drivers that did not post time in qualifying, Christian Stefanov, Calvin Moffat, and Leon Barlow.
Well done, Henry.
Oh, and already...
And we've been given a...
Oh, well,
nothing out of character there for the juniors.
They were listening, and they thought, we'll give them time to pause and take a moment. Looking down there, we've got 30 drivers on our screen.
Yeah,
and there were
32
who qualified. So
I think we're maxed out, though, aren't we, for these?
Oh, are we? Is that so? Okay, well, I'm trying to see who's not there. Well, Christian Stefanov, I think maybe not here because he didn't start qualifying. Calvin Moffat and Leon Barlow.
I mean, 32's maxed out, but we've only got 30 on the track.
30 on the screen. Well, that could explain a lot. Hopefully, that even if Christian Stefanov is not there, then that he is okay.
Yeah, Stefanov was a non-starter, so he maybe hasn't turned up.
Yes, or an issue, but.
Right.
30 of them are here, and they're about to hopefully have a bit of a tidier race than earlier on.
Well, we've got a tidier looking grid going towards the red light. We've got that great view of the red light going out, and we are indeed racing through turn 1 and up the Dragon Straight. We're in Wales, aptly named. We've got everybody through turn 1 without incident, and everybody over the brow of that hill. And that is a frightening pace into the braking area, and we've got a frightening incident as 2 karts spear off. I did see catch the number there, the 266. We've got 2 karts coming together and seemingly conjoined.
Yep.
Somebody wanting to get on with it. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Henry, they're already onto those twisty bits, down through Devil's Elbow and on towards the compression.
Now, of course, that's the red and white livery karts. There's I definitely saw a couple of Cato Motorsports livery karts.
Jensen Pritchard in the lead.
Yeah, it's good.
It
was Jensen Pritchard. It's now Kaksper Tomalewski, the KMS driver, leading, and yellow flags there, and that driver in 3rd place. That was Marcel Popocool. Thought about making a move and then just ducked back in, saw the yellow flag, so smart reaction driving there. We have, I'm trying to see who may have come a cropper. There's the 245 cart is one of those that is stranded.
That's Lewis Holt.
Yes, and Lewis Holt was starting quite well up the grid. There is Leon Barlow on the X-Kart chassis going a bit slower. Yeah. Some days you're the windshield, some days you're the bug.
Yeah, absolutely, he's the bug here. Tomalewski leads then. Marcel Popical finally got by and into second. Andrew Dixon third. Harry Hurst Grover, Jensen Pritchard demoted to fifth already. James Kell sixth. Max Horler, Logan Howes, Braith Murdoch and Ewan House is the driver that's rounding off that top 10.
Yeah, now there's something is awry with the scoring pile on the right-hand side of your screen.
Yes, there is.
So we'll endeavour to keep you up to date of because we're running lap number 3 now. Tomalewski trying to show Popical and Dixon a clean pair of heels as they head down through Devil's Elbow and Compression Corner, and Tomalewski, who I think he finished third in the opener. In the somewhat chaotic opener that I watched over the shoulders of my future replacement, Eddie Stewart.
Future planning again, Henry.
Yeah, future planning again, exactly, yes.
Yeah, and to cap that off, we've got a great battle there. That's third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh. That concertinaed up into Spoon there. And now we spread back out as they go back down the hill. The two leaders beginning to come back together. Take no notice of what the timing screen says on your TV screens, as that's not scraping the data from the timing and scoring. It's Kasper Tomalewski and Marcel Popical. There's the two drivers there that are coming through now, nose to tail, bumper to bumper. And again, the two teammates, aren't they? What team is that then
That's
from Tomalewski?
Cato Motorsport.
Motorsport.
The KMS team, Cato Adams.
Yes.
Again, a very decorated karter in his own right. Multiple Kart Masters Grand Prix winner. Now team boss. I keep teasing him, saying he does occasionally know what he's doing.
He seems to.
Yes.
Two of his drivers, 1-2 at the moment.
Yeah, and heading up the hill there. Now they've... remember, he burst onto the scene with the likes of Johnny Wilkinson and Lorcan Hannafin and the Cato Motorsport team a few years ago.
I love your knowledge. I love your knowledge. Zip your anorak up.
I know. Sorry, it's. I know.
I love your knowledge. It's great to see them doing so well as well. Now the thing is, we might not get the same sort of attitude from teammates. Marcel Popical, very much concerned with getting past, looking like he's pulling alongside, but he's not going to make that silly move on perhaps a driver in front of him who's with another team, because he's got to face them back out.
Yes.
And remember, Tomalewski, he's no slouch. He's the current Kart Championship Junior Rotax champion.
Yes, indeed. And but moving into place number 2, who I would surmise would be last year's championship runner-up, Harry Hurst Grover in the 2 plates, followed by James Kell, Max Horler, Logan Howes, Braith Murdoch, Ewan House. No, that's Harry Hurst Grover in third. Then it's Dixon, Kell, Horler, Pritchard, Murdoch, Horner, Smith, Howes, and Ewan House in 12th. And a really good scrap between 11th place on back. I mean, this is a good scrap for the race lead.
Yeah.
But it's more of a tactical situation, you know.
Well,
yeah.
I think that Popical, with his teammate leading him round, remember Tomalewski's been very successful in Junior Rotax, so Popical, who's a really smart and experienced driver, will be learning from his more experienced teammate here. And rather than sort of mounting a challenge, if anything, he's dropped off the tail of Tomalewski. What he's got to be very careful of, he doesn't fall back towards the clutches of Harry Hurst Grover, who's also no slouch and a very experienced driver, carrying the number 2. He's the current Kart Championship vice champion for this category in the Kart Championship, and he is just driving around with Andrew Dixon and James Kell right on his bumper, but looking very, very composed there on the infield.
Yeah, indeed, and there is Harry Hurst Grover, and he's got the 2. They look like Thule Motorsport liveried machines behind him, although I stand to be corrected, of Dixon and Kell, the 225 and the 252. That's a you can tell they're teammates because, and with one eye on a budget, is because they've only got the 2s and the 5s, so it cuts down the amount of number stickers you have to buy. Me and my teammate used to do that. Well, he was 28 and I was 82.
Well, it's only recently that Kai Hunters ran the number 1.
He
would not not give up that number that he used to carry. What was it, 95? I think
He was 95,
and he won the O plate, he won the GP plate, but he carried the 95.
Carried the 95, and
now he's holding that number one.
Now
I think Reese has told him he has to.
Yeah.
Moved on to motorsport.
Yeah, because he's thinking, right, Kai, you got to come in. We got to try and sell seats here. We
got
to try,
absolutely. Absolutely,
for the family team.
Yeah.
But as they cross the line to complete lap number 9, 30 seconds to go.
So it's going to be one lap to go aboard next time by, isn't it? So we're on the penultimate lap, and these two at the front now. Now
Popcorn might have a little look. Yes.
So he's played the waiting game. He's played the team game. But now he comes up to the rear bumper of our leader, Kasper Tomilewski, down the hill through the sweeping left-hander. That's the carousel. I love that corner, the way it goes downhill into it. And then out of there, Devil's Elbow is kind of 2 corners in one before they fire out of there, and then continuing downhill into the compression there, or here I should say, into the compression here. And then, now then, as they hit the last lap board there, just coming underneath, it looks like Tomilewski has actually responded.
Yeah,
he's responded there, hasn't he?
A quick check over his shoulder.
Yeah.
But that was a bit of a mistake there, though, because you see, as he was checking over his shoulder, he lost grip of the steering wheel. And moved to the left of the Dragon Straight. It's going to put him under a little bit of pressure. But it's a case of, will Popcorn spot an opportunity that is a safe opportunity to get through?
So what's this corner called here? Because
so this is going uphill. This is turn 6. This is turns 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And then this is Devil's Elbow. This is Devil's Elbow.
Yeah, and then they come out of Devil's Elbow
into compression there.
Then the compression's there.
Because that's where the chiropractor
comes in.
comes
So turn 6, does that have a name?
It's just, top of the hill.
Top of the hill, 6.
Top of the hill.
Checkered flag for Tomilewski, who takes heat number 2 for Junior Rotax. Marcel Poppercull, his KMS teammate, in second. The number 2 of Harry Hurst Grove across the line in third. We then had James Kell in fourth, Andrew Dixon fifth, sixth was Max Horner, Ben Horner was seventh, Addison Smith eighth, Callum Gosh was ninth, and Braith Murdoch was the driver that rounded off the top 10. Ewan House was 11th, and Jensen Pritchard, who had a great qualifying, has dropped down. I think he was kind of out of position, if I dare say, with the greatest of respect to Jensen.
Conditions were mixed, for qualifying. But again, it's good practice, and it's one of those things that, Pritchard, he might be a bit disappointed. However, he's learned how to, race at his pace. Don't try and finish 8th or 5th when you're only a 15th place driver. Try and finish 13th, because that's a result. If you try and defend against drivers that are going to get past you anyway, you could end up out in the boondocks, as it were.
Because it's how you're overtaken, isn't it? It's how you deal with being overtaken, and you want to lose as little ground as you possibly can. And that's exactly the lesson that you were talking about there, Henry. It's not a simple case of just dropping back down the field. You want to drop down the field at as little a rate as possible.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose too many places.
And Jensen, again, he drives for the Hunter Motorsport team, or was driving for the Hunter Motorsport team
last year.
Last year, but at the start of this year as well, because it was like a Hunter family outing to Dubai for the Rotax O plates.
Yes, it was. Yes.
With answers on a postcard or in the live chat. If you want to speculate what happened or who forgot the hire car keys on the last day of the event, or the truck keys to unload or upload all the equipment.
I haven't heard this story.
Well, we'll find in the live chat.
I bet Matt hasn't heard this story as well.
Well, we'll give Matt a chance to respond now that we know he's tuned in. He goes, who was the dime bar that left the hire car keys or the hire van keys? Because when I left on Monday morning, there was still several members of the Hunter Motorsport crew standing around the hire car, packing things up a day late.
I think that was always the plan to pack up.
Pack a day late, but
yes,
but it was
not having the hire car keys.
There was a set of keys that were forgotten by a member of the team. It could have been but you can speculate in the live chat, and we do really appreciate the live chat, all the comments coming in, as well, because we want to try and get you, the audience, closer to the broadcast, closer to the supporters. And it doesn't, the drivers, when they watch this back, if they know that a friend or a family member, a relative has been watching from afar, and they've been supported, it does make a difference to them.
Yeah, it absolutely does. By the way, I've just been messaged this by Gaz Bury, who's watching at home.
Yes.
Macaulay Austin is debuting in Honda Civics this weekend.
Yes, that would be Alex Austin's older brother. Macaulay's back in the sport. Yes, again,
you're really old.
I keep getting asked who's one of the best drivers I've ever seen in karts, and I say, look,
really,
Macaulay Austin was up there.
Really,
absolutely, the boy from Bryn Mawr.
That's quite a thing, Henry. You have seen a lot of karts.
Yes, and there's that famous YouTube footage. I think it's of Ayrton Senna qualifying at Adelaide in 1985, and the BBC commentary, and that black JPS Lotus. It's never straight.
Yes.
Because he's trying to harness about 13 million horsepower from a Renault turbo engine with about 8 seconds of turbo lag on some Goodyear D compound rubber that was half delaminating.
The rear end is just bouncing around, isn't it?
And you watch Macaulay drive a car. They used to call him the Little Tin Man, because he had an ex-post office LDV cargo, as his dad Neil would do the spanners.
Wow, fabulous.
And they had a tin fuel tank. And he went up and finished top 3 of the British Championship as a privateer. But you watch him, and the kart would dance. It would literally. It was complete instinct, and against the far better funded teams and drivers around them. Yeah. And every single time that you looked out on the track, the kart was dancing, and it was proper seat of your pants sort of react, just instinct.
Be interesting to see how he transitions to cars.
Yes.
I forget the championship that Gus said. I'm just going to have a recheck it.
It's the Miltech Sport.
It's the Miltech Sport Civic Cup.
Yes.
With Pro Alloys Racing. We wish him all the very best of luck with that. As we've got our Intermax category out, our Intermax class, they're out for their second heat, and it's the smallest grid of the afternoon. So we'll
give everybody their dues.
Yes, Max Gilman on the pole position. I have got the grid up there, haven't I? Yes, I have qualified. Max Gilman on the pole position with Jensen Seal alongside. JJ Plowman in third with Harvey Bacon alongside. Fifth place is Oscar Roach and Nathan Edwards in sixth. And then on the fourth row, George Ralston and Drew Davidson with Sandro Kemp and Fraser Anderson rounding off 10 karts. Thomas Jackson didn't start. I'm not sure if we have Thomas here.
He did go out and then retired for the first race. But I could see the ST Racing name, John Stewart's team.
Yeah, brilliant.
Again, John. Now we'll talk about John. There's a driver that did not. How should we say this? He was always fired. Took no prisoners. That's exactly it. Took no prisoners.
Yeah, North East team. Great to see John Stewart, Senior and Junior. I'm old enough to remember John Senior.
Yes.
As well. Here we go then. We are racing in Intermax. And
Max Gilman makes a good start.
Brilliant start. He's pulled out a little bit of a gap. It's too wide behind him. Up the Dragon Straight towards the Spoon Curve, over the brow of the hill, into the braking area as he crossed the brow. It looks a frantic pace from that camera angle, doesn't it? We've got frantic pace from all of our, from second place down to about 10th. This is allowing our leader to break free, and we've got a massive gap there. We'll just confirm the number. We think it's Max Gilman.
It is. It is Gilman in front. And with the greatest of respect to the other drivers in this race, Gilman is by far the most experienced running at major events at national levels. Seen him over the last couple of years. So one would expect him to know how to be aggressive when the tyres are cold, and this is a key thing for these young drivers. When you start the race, the tyres are cold. Sometimes the tyres are pressured to come on later in the race, but to be ultra aggressive and quick and confident in the kart at the start of a race is a skill that just takes time to learn.
Yeah, and you can really tell the great drivers are on it absolutely immediately, and they can find that level of grip and where the limit of the grip is really, really quickly, and that's what we're seeing Max Gilman. That the driver in second place, Jensen Seal, and it's about confidence, isn't it? We're now, and you can see the confidence in the drivers as the tyres come in, and you can clearly see when the tyres come in, because that's when everybody starts really ploughing into those braking areas and really turning in. And Seal, he is in fact catching Gilman. Yeah,
he just done the fastest lap of the race, a 45.276, 0.3 of a second quicker than Gilman in that. Is that the Ambition Motorsport livery? Paul James' team. I think he's got. I'm trying to think. the guy that's helping to run the team. I'll deliberately forget his name and see him later on. But it's Paul Janes's team. I mean, Paul Janes only runs cadet karts because they're the only ones that he can actually lift up. Because bless him. No, I'm only joking, Paul. Yeah. I'm only joking, Paul. He's down from southeast of England, Bayford Meadows way. But Jensen Sale is closing in on Max Gilman.
Yeah, he is. He's catching him.
And you can see that Jensen Sale's got that. It's a very distinctive driving style. It's sort of a Mark Kimber style driving style where, as he turns right, he sort of moves his body to the left a little bit.
Yeah, just getting those tyres to dig in, and it's to lift the axle as well.
Yes,
it's to release the inside wheel, isn't it?
Mark Kimber is a sort of coined that driving style more than anything else, and has made it very, very effective.
It looks quite uncomfortable.
Yes, you can only do it certain amounts. If you lean over too far, you unbalance yourself and your arms. So you've got to keep your arm muscles, your lower arm muscles, sort of like straighten up, but then just ease your body weight, from one side of the axle to the other side of the axle, just to help the kart turn a little bit.
And it's to get the inside wheel to release because the axle twists on itself.
Yep.
Because there's no differential on a kart; it's a solid axle. So when you go through an arc, the inside wheel's moving through a narrower circle than the outside wheel. So by lifting that inside wheel, it's freeing the axle up, and you can hear the engine not deaden if you not go off. You can hear the revs pick up. We've had a change for third.
Yes.
As Harvey Bacon, we saw go by JJ Plowman. JJ Plowman in a bit of a lonely fourth place now because he's got a bit of a gap now to Nathan Edwards and Fraser Anderson in fifth and sixth. There's the ST Racing driver there, JJ Plowman. Being with ST Racing, who are from the northeast, I'm kind of thinking that might not be any relative of Martin.
No, I'm thinking I could be. I could have got myself into a right pickle there over Plowman.
We might be able to fathom that out as Henry and I will be doing a bit of a paddock walk.
Yes.
That will be available on our Facebook page on Karting Live TV, but we'll also go out as part of the broadcast tomorrow in the lunch break. And because Henry is more familiar with the format of a live walk around, Henry, to make you feel at home here at Karting Live TV, we're going to do that.
That's very kind.
We're going to do that this
much.
evening.
Well, no,
it may be pitch black by then.
That's fine. That's absolutely
which
fine.
Will suit. We've got faces for radio.
Yeah, exactly.
So that'll suit us.
But no, and I love the paddock shows, the paddock walkabouts, because it introduces you to the characters. All the drivers look exactly the same now.
Well, I don't recognise anyone with helmets on.
Yeah. But I mean,
or without the helmets,
it shows you, because this sport, at this level, this is a junior sport. So every single one of these drivers, they've got their kids, they've got families, they've got parents, siblings, brothers, sisters who are here supporting. And without the entire family, none of the drivers get to go racing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
to get a chance for the viewers, the Karting Live TV viewers, to give them an introduction to the personalities and the behind the scenes, to give you an idea of what goes on into creating a spectacle like this, and with Gilman and Sale looking like they're about to put on a spectacle for the race lead. It's just a great opportunity to go and have some fun and to introduce you to some new faces and names in the Kart Championship.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to our little walk around. It's only going to be about a half an hour, Henry, to fill the gap in the lunch break tomorrow. But we'll hopefully speak to a few of these karters without their helmets.
Yeah.
As we are inside the final 90 seconds for the second heat for the Intermax, and I'm going to sneeze, Henry, so you can take over.
Well, Gesundheit in advance, but as Sale starts to look around the rear bumper of Gilman's kart. Now you'll watch him take a slightly different line through compression corner there. The idea is he wants to get a wide entrance into this corner, a tight exit, gets on the power early so he can settle into the slipstream. And now he's 5 kart lengths, 4, 3. Look at the slipstream effects take place there. And before you know it, he's back literally resting his nose cone on the rear bumper of the race leader.
It's kind of gauging how you come through, how far away you are through that final turn.
Yeah.
Because you need to give yourself a bit of room, or else you're going to trip over into turn 1.
Yeah,
you've got to give that gap to decrease the gap, and then continue decreasing and pulling alongside.
You want to time it so that halfway down the back straight you've got the momentum, and then you can either, if the person you're trying to pass defends, you can sweep to the outside without losing momentum, and if the person doesn't defend, you can just dive up the inside.
Or we're inside of 10 seconds on the clock, so we're going to get 2 more chances 2 more laps
Good
to
timing,
give more
good
chances.
timing.
Yeah.
Good timing?
Not
No.
quite enough.
Not
No,
quite.
no, not quite enough. Because you know what? Gilman's engine comes into play as well.
Yes.
Because his engine's absolutely giving some great power output there at the end of the straight, which is a factor, again, down to gearing and stuff. However, these guys are they on fixed gearing?
I
check.
don't believe they are.
Intermax.
I think it is.
No, open gearing.
No, it's the Primos that are on the.
Yeah.
No,
It's the
Primos and the Mighty Bambinos that are on the fixed gearing.
and it's going to be Micromax that's changing on April the 1st, isn't it, to a fixed gearing and a different tyre.
Oh, mid-season, or how is it? That's
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before the British,
before the
British
yes.
Championship. Yeah.
Okay, but
So and this championship will follow suit as well into April. So by the time we get to Warden Law, the Micromax. Anyway, we're talking about Intermax, so we digress.
Yeah. Well, it's last half a lap to go, and Jensen Sale has been biding his time, and that sunlight on the camera does sort of this.
It's beautiful,
this
isn't it?
There, yeah,
Yeah, we're creating art here, Henry.
Well, yes.
We're creating art.
But are we going to see a move in the final couple of quarters?
I'm not sure, I'm not sure that Jensen Sale there in the bright green, yellowy green, as the checkered flag flies for Max Gilman. He does indeed hang on to it. Jensen Sale chased him all the way to the line. Harvey Bacon, quite a lonely third. J.J. Plowman, an equally lonely fourth. It was then Nathan Edwards, Fraser Anderson, 6th, 7th, George Ralston. Oscar Roach, was 8th. Drew Davidson, 9th. 10th was Sandro Kemp. And then there's the 11 cart field through, taking the checkered flag. We have got our Mighty Bambinos next. These are the electric carts. The electric carts, exactly the same as our Coma C50s, which you saw earlier. I want to give a shout out here to, it's from Alina Cuckoo. It's a shout out from Dublin to Scotty, the cameraman. You see, Scotty, our cameraman, who is up on the hill, bringing us some of those creating art.
Yes,
Scotty is creating art out there, no question.
I know, Koyada Scotzi, eat your heart out.
Yeah, that's Scotty on the hill creating the light. He's using the light to create art, everybody. Honestly.
But I mentioned earlier, not to put a dampener on things, but mentioned Gerard Cox, who sadly passed away. I must also mention another lady who passed away in January, Shelley Barrett, the wife of Mick Barrett and the mum of Dan Barrett of the Mick Barrett Racing team, who passed away as well. I saw a Mick Barrett Racing coat in the paddock earlier, so I thought it must be remiss of me not to pay a tribute to Shelley Barrett and
nice.
give our thoughts are obviously with Mick and the entire team.
We're all just one big family. The karting family, I would extend that to the motorsport family.
Oh, yeah, yes.
We really are. It doesn't matter what, we Nick and I, here at the Kart Championship, we are, in June, we'll be off to the Le Mans 24 Hours and the World Endurance Championship. It's the same mindset. You're surrounded by people in the paddock at Le Mans, and it's the same sort of attitude. In fact, we've got a Le Mans winner here.
Yes,
with Nick Tandy, whose kid Felix Tandy is on the pole position for our next race. We've also got Jade Edwards and Josh Cook wandering around.
Yes, helping Albie J Stubbs.
Yes, helping Albie J. So,
although Josh Cook is only here because we have to have a minimum quota of gingers in the paddock. He's just boxed.
So he wouldn't be here otherwise.
No, I'm only joking, Josh. I've already seen him.
So do you remember when Josh Cook was in cars?
I remember he was in Formula Blue.
What on earth was Formula Blue?
Oh well, I think it was Formula Blue. There was definitely a Josh Cook that raced Formula Blue, which is a South of England thing. Ron Schoen and Tabor Karting.
I remember Jade Edwards as a small child running around the paddock.
Jim Edwards' daughter.
I remember Jim Edwards Senior in Renault 5 racing. Ooh. I remember Jade's dad was in Renault Clio when I was the team manager at Robert Shaw Racing, running the Clio Cup team. And Jade was 2007. How old were you, Jade? I don't know. You were a small child. I remember you and your sister. So yes, we are that old.
We are. But the Mighty Bambinos, this will be lost on them because, again, they are, just minimum age of 6, 7, and 8 years old.
Yes, they were born in 2019.
Now, it is
or 2018.
possible with the way that karting is working. You know, you've got the Mighties, but you've got other electric karts that some of these drivers could go through their entire career without driving an internal combustion engine. You know, they're in Bambinos now. There's a Rotax E10 Cadet engine that is set to start in the UK, come on stream, this year, next year. There's a bit of a hole with the juniors at the moment, although
Right.
there's an E20 junior, and then there's seniors and masters.
The stifler has been,
It's
Nick,
the weight.
yes, the weight and the weight of the batteries, but also the stifling factor has been the charging process.
Yes.
Now Johnny from Might E, who I will get in here for an interview before
Certainly.
the season end.
Well, before today, yeah. Before tomorrow ends.
Well,
What
no,
can
he
you do with this?
keeps shirking, mate. He
Wow,
keeps-
what will happen
yes,
is
he's very shy.
you're too nice, Joe. I just go.
Well, go and drag him in. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he was telling me that these karts are good at a meeting like this, at a meeting like the Kart Championship, 2-day meeting, 2 heats today, 3 races tomorrow.
Yeah.
They are good for one charge.
That's the key.
He said no one will not recharge their batteries tonight,
But they don't have to.
but they don't have to. These
Yeah.
will go through till Monday, and
No,
that's the key, isn't it?
No, that is impressive.
I think that's going to be the future, the key to the future.
And
The other thing, because I'm going to
We're
read
gonna
the
do a grid.
Nick Tandy was
Right.
telling us in an interview last at the last round, the Might E category was very, very attractive to him because of the lack of maintenance.
Yeah.
Because of the lack of time that he has.
or the lack of clue that he's got
it's-
normally during
and
time.
you don't have to tinker with the
Yep.
Nick was putting mini engines in mini stocks when he was
Yeah,
11
yeah.
and 12. He can wield a spanner, all right.
Yes, but
it's the lack of that. It's the lack of the tinkering and the lack of the messing around that has to be done to get the best out of those Coma engines. That some people are just not really suited to that for various reasons.
Yeah.
Not just
Absolutely.
ability and knowledge, but also time. Shall I have a look at the grid?
Well, I think we should. Because
Well,
they're coming onto it.
Well,
so
we've got a standing start, which
Yes.
is good for me. Felix Tandy, following his dad's footsteps and putting it on pole position. He'll be delighted with that, will young Felix. Oliver Woodall's alongside. Then we've got Ralph Martin and Ollie West. Ollie doing double duties, as we've mentioned there, also out in the petrol-engined cars. We might have to have a word with Ollie tonight and tell him and ask him
what's the main differences
what exactly
around
are the
here.
differences. Yeah. Heath Smith and Junior Wright are next up on row 3. Row 4 is Jack Harper and Ava Garrett. Maximilian Mikalski and Arthur Thompson are next. Then we've got Hugo Williams, Jensen James Williams, Frank Pearson, Etienne Gardner, Nico Mohan, Hadley Jarvis, Arthur Bath, Kai Ergensoy, Christian Doshi and Henry Hales is the last of our 20 karts in the Might E electric karts. It hasn't gone quiet, everybody. It's just these karts, the only noise coming from them on track is the sound of the tyres on the track.
And you can hear the tyres squeal, which is, at first, it's a strange sensation to get used to, but the lights are out. We're off and racing. And Felix,
Tandy.
Yeah, Felix has gone off like a cat on a hot tin roof.
Yes.
And up into second place, Ralph Martin in the black crash helmet, number 32.
Same as last one,
made
wasn't
a
it?
very
Exactly
good
the
start
same.
as well.
Exactly the same as Heat 1. Felix Tandy got away. Ralph Martin made a great start. And these karts really do pull away massively quick off the line as they go. Oh, and there's into that over the brow of the hill and into Spoon. Tandy under pressure early this time. He had at least a couple of laps before he had to worry about somebody on his bumper. But this time, Ralph Martin now pressuring down the inside and Tandy being ushered to the outside somewhat.
Yep, and he's got to be careful he doesn't lose
yeah,
any
he
more
is.
positions. But, good move there from Ralph Martin just to set up the race leader going into the first half of the carousel. And he was just able to get to the inside and always wheel-to-wheel dicing, a bit of a territorial dispute there.
These karts are so narrow they can go too wide through parts of the track that no one else can.
Yes, and the drivers, again, just starting out, 6, 7 years old, they don't know any different. They're like, well, there's a bit of tarmac there, I'm trying to put my go-kart in it.
I love the gesticulations from the parents
Oh, yeah.
on the sidelines there. Yeah. Come on, hurry up. Yep, we're going as fast as we can. I can assure everybody out there on the sidelines. Yes. This is a great race. Once again, Tandy moves onto the rear bumper. A little bit of a different opinion of line into Spoon as Tandy with his competitors Ollie West. Ollie West in the green helmet, losing out a little bit there down the hill towards the carousel. And Tandy, if anything, Henry, he's catching Ralph Martin, and he's catching him, and well, he's learnt so much. He learnt so much in round one at Wilton Mill, and you can see here he is leading from pole position, and now following in second place, having lost that position, having lost that lead. Here he is coming back at him. He's like a sponge. That these kids are like sponges.
Absolutely, yeah. They're just soaking up, there's much information every time they hit the track. So you can see big jumps in competitiveness. Now, also then you see, and quite often you see the driver, learns how to drive quickly, but then they've got to learn how to race quickly, because the two are not necessarily, the same thing. You can do one lap very quickly, but then you've got to do 8 laps.
And racing very well indeed has gone Oliver Woodall, who did go by Ollie West, but Ollie West has gotten back. So Ollie West behind these two, back into third. If you'd looked away and then looked back, you would have thought there's nothing changed. However, Junior Wright has gone ahead of Oliver Woodall, who got into third place, but now finds himself in 5th. This is how tight these races are.
Yeah, somebody at the top of the hill was exploring the scenery, but what the drivers, this pack here, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they need to work together. They were just before half distance. We've still got 4 minutes to go. Now that's going to give Junior Wright in that 11 kart, the second kart on your screen, a great chance to make a move, because Ollie West ran wide, and. Now, is that the RCE logo on the number 11 kart of Junior Wright? That's the Richardson Chassis Engineering team. A team that, British team, they do a lot of short oval stuff, and have just moved into karting, manufacturing their own chassis and a few bits and bobs.
Well, that's who supports Felix as well.
Ah, right.
So
okay.
Connections with Nick. Nick comes from a short oval background.
Ah, right, yes. The Richardson Chassis Engineering team, broke out onto the national scene about 18 months ago, and it's great to see again variety of chassis, different manufacturers, different brands, all here, which is good. Variety is the spice of life. You don't want just one chassis manufacturer dominating everything.
No, that's called British Formula 3 back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah. If you're not in a Dallara, then you're not, or a Reynard, or over time it was a Rolt, and then it was a Reynard. No, it was yes. And now it's nothing at all.
No, whatever it is now, I don't no idea. Felix Tandy still behind Ralph Martin as they cross the line. This is the battle for third, though. The green helmet of Ollie West now has Junior Wright still with him, and Oliver Woodall, who did drop back from that third place to 5th. We've got a back mark becoming involved as well. The two leaders have gotten by on Dragon Straight, so that won't cause any problems there, Henry. But there's the 3rd, 4th and 5th also. No problems there, and they stay together. If anything, are those three catching those two ahead of them?
They are, very slightly. And that's something I've been impressed with both Ralph Martin and Felix Tandy. The temptation to just go and race and battle with each other is huge at this age. But they've stayed nose to tail, and now the second group are West and Wright are slowly inching towards them. They are catching them, but not at a great, they're not catching them in leaps and bounds.
Yeah, but
they will now.
They are now.
In the slipstream.
Here we go. So the 2-kart battle for the lead has very quickly become a 4-kart battle. Well, 4.5 karts, because we're not going to discount Oliver Woodall, who's almost on the rear bumper of that number 11 Junior Wright. Here they go then, all 4. Felix Tandy's been in the wheel tracks, absolutely in the slipstream of Ralph Martin. Each time they've gone up the Dragon Straight, up the hill, towards Spoon, looking very, very like he's just taunting us with that move. But no, through Spoon, Ralph Martin has the momentum, and he has speed through that corner, down the hill, plunging downhill. That's quite a drop there into the carousel. It flattens out as they go through the turn there, through the left-hander. That's turn 6, which leads into turn 7, another right-hander, so short straight, then turn 7, and then this is the Devil's Elbow.
Yep.
And to right and left. Oh, Tandy. Was that Tandy sliding wide there?
That was West making a committed move on Tandy, and then realising at the last minute that it wasn't going to work, and just a little bit of, side-by-side brushing.
Yes, wheel banging.
Wheel banging, and but I was going to say that the number 11 kart of Junior Wright is looking particularly racy. A couple of times on that last lap, he sort of feigned a half move, but we've got more than a half move. We've got a full move, and it's round the outside.
Incredible.
Goes Felix Tandy. They're 3 wide up the hill.
Now this might not pay off for him if he's not careful. He does have to slot back in behind Ralph Martin. But behind Tandy, everybody's tripping over. Woodall's back into it. Woodall's back into fourth. Defensive driving for Ralph Martin down towards the carousel. Felix Tandy having to slot in behind. If he's not careful, Ollie West's going to have that second place. The green helmet of Ollie West is the kart in third place there. But no change. If you looked away, there is no change. Only for fourth. Oh, and Ollie West down the inside of both of them. And he comes together. He's on the rear bumper now of Felix Tandy, who goes very wide indeed and comes back into third. But that was Felix Tandy leading for a while there, and back into that first place has gone Ralph Martin.
Yeah, Ralph, he went from first to
there
third
was
to
two
first.
lead changes there.
First to third to first in 3 corners, and now it's anyone's guess. We're on the final lap, so Martin will try and hug the white line as much as possible. Tandy once again going to the outside as the sun, yes, you did read that right, the sun begins to set here at Glan and Gors, and there's West into the lead.
Yes, and he took Tandy with him, but just slotting in behind has gone Ralph Martin, so Ollie West is now leading. Tandy second, Ralph Martin now third, round the outside of Tandy there, not quite, turn 6. They're still first, second and third. West, Tandy and Martin is the order. That's not how they cross the line, but it's not what they're going to be by the time they get back round to the checkered flag, as Tandy goes through the inside and takes the lead in very fine style. They're already out of the compression, heading down to the final turn. It's going to be Felix Tandy who's going to take this heat win in fine style, but who's going to be for second place? They're 3 wide across the line for second place, and it went the way of Ralph Martin. Ralph Martin takes it by 7 thousandths of a second from Ollie West in third, who's 700ths of a second ahead of Oliver Woodall. I'm going to have a lie down.
Well, that was
incredible. It was incredible racecraft from those youngsters.
Yes, that's what impressive. That was so good. 5 karts all in a bunch, and they all came home together, facing the right way.
Incredible.
With everything is still attached.
I've seen grown men not able to do that.
Yeah, you know, it was
British touring car drivers, look at that Bambino race,
yes.
please.
Well, junior road tax drivers, look at that Bambino race.
That's not going to work now. They're not going to.
No, but
cracking
fantastic.
racing from all of those kids.
And would that be a first win in his career, first race win for young Master Tandy?
You know what? I'm going to check that because I'm pretty sure he won a heat in. I might be wrong. Henry.
But it's still a great moment. Caught on that's the joys of running of filming the heats.
It really is.
Yeah, you can see things unfold as the weekend progresses. But as Joe looks at the results from Wilton Mill to see whether that was Felix's first ever race win, be it heats, super final, or super heats, or final. We'll look ahead to the last race.
It's his first.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
First
I
race.
don't know because that's points. That's a points haul. Heats.
But it was, as a couple of the mighties, they did a bonus lap. But once they get their full track time in, I think Arthur Thompson and Kai Ergensoy were those 2 drivers that were coming around to doing another lap. But yeah, fantastic, and that means that we've got 1 heat race to go.
Incredible. We've already burnt through all of our heats.
Well, it's 14 races today. I think there's 2, 4, 6, 14 races in total. This is the 14th of said races. Logan Rolfe is going to be starting from pole position again. I did, Logan's mum Kelly did message me saying when she heard that I was going to be here, said, great to have, good to see you again. It'd be great. I can't believe, you're commentating on my son and what have you. And, Gary Rolfe was a mechanic. He was a mechanic for the late Dan Weldon.
Oh, really?
In the day. Yeah. Gaz
so Gaz Tech
does.
He would have worked with Mark Rose.
He worked
your
with
eyes,
Mark.
Your eyes rose there.
Well, but Mark is there are not many people in this sport that know more about how to set up a go-kart than Mark Rose.
Absolutely.
He's based out in the Middle East now.
Yeah, here, yes.
Based out in the Middle East. And, he's
bizarrely, where there's no alcohol.
But he stopped drinking.
No.
He stopped drinking.
What, completely?
But completely, yes. Dry as a chip is now Mark.
He's a legend.
Yes.
He is an absolute legend.
And
Remind me to tell you the Atlantic 252 story.
okay, the Atlantic 252. Yes, it probably.
I can't tell you on
involving it
No,
probably be
not a chance.
Well, it would be. It's one of those things where you say, "Well, it's been a lovely career. I'm now going to sign off
Yes,
with this Mark Rose story."
Yeah, I couldn't possibly. Any Mark Rose story. So that back in that era, I mean, there's a new documentary movie coming out about Dan Weldon's career and life. Lionheart,
yes.
yeah. I'm not sure where that's going to be available.
On some platform.
HBO in the States have just released it this week. I was still waiting.
Sky,
I'm not sure where. I was still waiting.
Sky,
I'm not sure where that's going to. Yeah, I hope so.
Well, keep your eyes peeled.
Lionheart, it's called.
Yes.
About the
still recovering from the Didier
sneak
Peroni and Gilles Villeneuve documentary.
Oh, that was brilliant. Yeah, that was brilliant. We used to sneak Dan Weldon into nightclubs with us when he was in Formula Ford.
Ah, yes.
These little curtains, He was only about 17.
And his kids, Oliver and Sebastian, doing well in the States. I think Oliver's moved into Formula 4 now, and saw them at the Supernats last year on what was a very poignant weekend because it was held at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Oh, really? Was it really?
Las Vegas Supernats.
Right.
And of course it was the elephant in the room, But both boys and Susie, who was there, just absolute credit and ambassadors to the sport.
Yeah.
And took everything in their stride like a proper racing family.
I mean, Dan Weldon, I remember in cadets.
Oh, yes.
Up at Felton and stuff. Right. Do you want to have a bash down
the grids?
Across the grid.
Okay. Logan Rolfe and Chloe McGill starting from row number 1. Albie J. Stubbs and Buddy Hugo on row 2. Elijah West and Alfie Mayer, who won very impressively in heat number 1. Alfie goes from grid position number 6. Benedictus Masiokas is 7th, followed by Lewis Herbertson. Then it's Jensen Walker and Alfie Garrett. Xavier Ramsey and Lewis Cacaldi. Is Andy Cacaldi's son, another...
Andrew
Cacaldi. Matthew Lilly and Toby Biggs. Then Dean Pahal and Sebastian Crawford. Freddie Blackshaw and Jack Mellon. Victor Popacol is 19th. And rounding out the field very quickly is Jamie Walsh, Zach Andrew, Travis Giddings, Carter Jackson, Ruben Seguin, Ronnie Faulkner and Leo Hunt.
Grid vistas across the Glan Gors kart track here in North Wales. We are not far from Ruthin, you have to drive through and pay homage and respect to Tom Price, which I've done a couple of times over the past couple of years. I got to see the memorial there to Tom Price.
Paid for and funded by Bernard Charles Ecclestone.
Was it really?
Yes,
well, it's
Thomas
very
Baldwin.
very poignant. I remember that date back in 1977. That's how old I am. Here we go though. It's the Micromax second heat. That is about to get underway. We've been asked by the drivers for another lap.
I don't think,
and they've been given one. Yes.
Yes.
The drivers came out of the final turn there, Henry, giving it the waved finger, and both Logan Rolfe and Chloe McGill were two of those drivers that were asking for that. Now I can only suspect that.
Well, Gaz has told Logan, listen, son, your tyres do know that to cut in, so go off for a fair old clip, mates. And
well, they were gathered up though, weren't they? With a very they were a very small. They were small. They were going very slowly, and I wonder if they were feeling like their engines were beginning to bog down and maybe oil up.
Yeah, but
that's why they were asking.
Or because there's one driver you can see at the back now. Speaking of bogging up, they've decided to stop. Now this is gamesmanship at the finest order. Now, yes, they've slowed right down because there's one driver at the back of the field, possibly Ronnie Faulkner, and that is spelled Forkner. That's Ronnie Faulkner. Now, there's obviously got to be a joke in there about fork handles and Ronnie. In there, something like that.
You've got to be a certain age to appreciate it. Certainly, these drivers would.
Yeah, in the Junior Karting Championship, that is not an era-appropriate joke.
yeah, they won't have a clue what we're talking about. Here we go, though. We've got a red flag. Now then, Mr. Ashton has been prodded. I think
into life.
No, prodded. Well, yes, there he is.
There he
is with these yellow earmuffs, keeping his ears warm. He's not happy with. I don't know what he wasn't happy with there, Henry.
Probably the drivers dictating whether or not they want to start the go-kart race or not.
Well, there is that. Yes, of course.
He will have a word. Now, I also saw Stu Stratton.
So our friend Gaz Bury has
yes,
gotten
yes,
in
yes.
touch with Macaulay Austin and screenshotted your comments of Henry just comparing him to Senna at Adelaide '85, and he got that back from Macaulay.
Oh.
So you've
You've
made him cry.
No.
You've made him cry. But
man up, or else I'll get Neil, your dad, to smack you around the head for
Macaulay, you were that good.
You were that good, yes. Yep.
So go out and smash that Civic tomorrow in that championship.
No, don't smash Civic, because you can't afford to repair it.
No, I meant that. Yes.
But one person that Macaulay is working with, one of the all-time greats who left the sport and is now back in the sport, is Colin Brown. The 2000,
I remember. Yes, I remember.
2000 World
He's back into the sport. Did you say?
He's based in the United States. He's mechanicking, and he won. His driver.
He was the biggest loss to British motorsport, in my opinion. Again, down to funding or something, wasn't it?
Funding, and I think there was.
Or did he become distracted?
There may have been a couple of life issues that got in the way, but funding being the main one. But Colin is now back in the sport, running, helping to run Ryan Perry Motorsports in the USA, and his driver, Peyton Phillips, won the opening round of the SCUSA the SCUSA Winter Nationals in Orlando a couple of weekends ago, using Colin Brown's old crash helmet. Colin's gone, right, use the colours, use the helmet, and so and Macaulay's working a bit with him as well. So it's this sport, it has a habit of sometimes chewing you up and spitting you out.
Yeah, can.
But if you realise why you stepped into a karting paddock in the first place, you find your way back, and people will remember your talents, and you can it can be the most addictive drug in the world, this karting, because you can have a terrible weekend. You can throw what's left of your go-kart in the back of the van, cussing and screaming and shouting, I'm never coming to another kart track again.
That's going up for sale.
And by Tuesday, you're thinking, right, where's the next race? What have we got to do? What parts have we got to buy? Let's get back out there. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times that happened to me, to everyone. Yeah. It's like, right, I'm packing this in. This is ridiculous. And then by Wednesday, you just pull in the garage door up a little bit. I'll just have a look to see. Yeah. So that's too bad. Just a tie rod. Just a steering collar.
Just quickly get on the Zip North or Zoom Kart or
new tyres.
Quick spell thing, order. Yeah.
Dan Ashton has written the Riot Act. He's got the scroll out there and read the Riot Act to both Logan Rolfe and Chloe McGill. He got the two front row drivers out of the karts, and he basically told them what they had done wrong and what he needed from them. And Stu Stretton,
I was going to say
at the front there, the photographer.
Speaking of our quote of gingers, Stu Stretton is there again. Fantastic work that he's doing.
Well, this has given Stu Stretton an opportunity to create art.
There's going to be something artistic.
Yes,
possibly on a canvas.
Yes.
That's
going to go. So, Mr. and Mrs. Rolfe, we're going to have some very good arty shots of Logan on the front row in these heats. That is going to be available to buy from Stu Stretton on his website.
Well, basically, that's one way. Every time Gaz earns a couple of quid, Caddy will find out, and she'll instantly go and speak to Stu Stretton, saying, right, we're having a double order this weekend.
Yes.
Because I know that he's got a couple of quid, and I don't want to go into bookies. I'm only joking. And so, yes. But this, again, I would advise you to look at Stu Stretton Media for, what can be done with, this is new school, the streaming services, the broadcasting, the live broadcasting, but a picture can still say 1,000 words.
And you know what? I raced karts I raced Formula Fords for a couple of years. I did it backwards. I went Formula Ford and then karting.
Okay.
Because basically I didn't have enough money to run a Formula Ford. But I barely had enough money to run a kart. But I did that for many, many years. Between 1986 through to the mid-90s, we did the Metro Centre race, we did the Hull Street race.
Oh, I remember the Hull Street.
As well as racing at Felton, and as it was called then, Langbar, which
I was
is
going to say
Teesside.
Langbar, yeah.
I also raced all over the country. I did the odd Super 1 round. I raced at PF, raced everywhere. I've got about 3 photographs. About 3 photographs. Yeah. I've got no photographs whatsoever of the Hull Street race or the Metro Centre race. Of which Jensen Button and Dan Weldon were there in cadets.
Yep.
In 1991. But now,
we've
got you were looking back. When these when these guys are in their 20s and 30s and 40s like we are, Henry, they'd be
20s
able
and
to
30s
look back at
especially,
TV coverage,
and
as a plethora of photographs and stills from the likes of Stu Stretton.
Yes, and now they have been the riot act read, admonishment given, engines fired, and rolling lap part 2 or part 3 underway.
Yes, let's see if they can do what Dan Ashton has asked of them.
Well, if they don't, then Logan Rolfe and Chloe McGill could win an all-expenses-paid trip to the back of the grid, which is at the race director's discretion.
I've seen that happen. I've seen Dan Ashton do that as well. And Dan Ashton is, you know what, I'm going to blow smoke here at Dan Ashton. He is one of the best stewards, clerks of the course,
absolutely.
That we have in Great Britain. He really is, and I've seen him. He's very fair. He's also very firm, and which was more important than anything, he's very consistent.
Yeah, and of course, because he does a lot of ARCS examinations
That's right,
as well,
yeah,
so he brings these drivers in from the minute they step in a go-kart.
And you know what I think? I think he's as good as what he does in his officials capacity because he's raced.
Yes, it always helps. Always helps if you race.
Here we go. It's Logan Rolfe on the left-hand side of your screen, and Chloe McGill in the bright pink cart. And it's too wide through the first turn there, and everybody getting through without incident. Yes, there was a little bit of nudging. Yes, there was a little bit of wheel banging. And yes, Chloe McGill has dropped probably down to what looks like... she's right out of it. She's right out of it there.
And that was that. Now, if that's not a problem developing, she was on the outside. And I think she hesitated as she was going to turn in, and then someone behind was still, flat chat on the gas, sort of just edged her a little bit further wide. And now it'll be interesting to see how she reacts and how she tries to start fighting her way back through. We'll pick up where she is at the end of this first lap, but and then follow her progress. But we've got about, is it 4-kart breakaway? No, 5 or 6 breakaway.
Everyone's broke away.
Yeah.
That's the whole field as they come across the line. One lap completed then, and it's Logan Rolfe and LBJ Stubbs who is right on the rear bumper there. And there's the number 11 of Buddy Hugo right on the rear bumper of LBJ Stubbs. LBJ Stubbs, remember, is being coached, mentored by both Josh Cook and Jade Edwards, 2 British touring car drivers there involved with Albie. And I think he's lost out, actually. I think he's dropped down to 3rd now behind Buddy Hugo.
But he's still, this is one of his first races out the Bambinos as Albie J Stubbs. So again, still a steep learning curve. Has to be said. Now, Chloe McGill crossed the line in 12th position.
Wow.
Just behind Lewis
Capaldi. That was lost in one corner, up at the Spoon corner. Here is, that is LBJ Stubbs, I think, isn't it? No. Look.
It's Rolfe. Rolfe is in 4th place. It is LBJ Stubbs.
Yeah.
He's got the black number plate on the back.
That has happened at the compression.
Yes.
So the number 32 there of Logan Rolfe, who was leading into the compression. Now we get a change for the lead as Buddy Hugo goes down the inside. We've seen that move many, many times. That's textbook. However, you do tend to run wide coming out of Spoon, and that can disadvantage you down the hill like we're seeing now.
And it's getting a little bit close for comfort for about 6th position on back. But now that you can see all this group now just closing back up as they head down the hill towards Devil's Elbow for the 4th time. And Chloe McGill still running in 12th. But if you have a little look, you can just see her in the pink and white cart. Not in this lead group, but not far off it. And if the last couple of laps are anything to go by, Joe, then they're not all going to sit single file and play nice. They are going to race, as we're seeing already, with Logan Rolfe trying to go round the outside.
He's trying to regain that position, isn't he? He dropped to 4th place. He's back up to 3rd. Let's see if he can. He's got the next driver on his list to tick off is Buddy Hugo. Now these two coming together at the carousel there. Down the inside has gone Rolfe, and he has made that move stick. He's back up into 2nd. Now we're going to see some helmet tapping coming here. Because Alfie Mayer is the driver that has gotten into the lead and pulled a bit of a gap there. Alfie Mayer, the Zipcart driver, once again through the compression, then through the left-hand bit, and then into the final turn. And across the line. Alfie Mare leads by, well, that was a gap of, what is that, 6 tenths?
Yeah.
6 tenths of a second.
Is this not what he did in the earlier race?
I think it is.
Work his way to the front, and then as everybody sort of scrapped over the minor podium placings, he cleared off. Now, here's the second big pack. There's Chloe McGill chasing the number 42 kart of Alfie Garrett. So McGill had moved up into 10th, but I think Garrett has repassed her for 11th. But there's that first group with Rolf second, then Hugo, then Masiokas, Stubbs, West, and Walker.
Yeah, that's the gaggle, isn't it? That's the group that's broken free. And that's 7 karts that have broken a gap of, what was it? It's about a second. Let's see if it's still a second. It's Walker in 7th, and then we've got Dayan Singh Pahal 1.6 seconds back. So that gap is opening up. Meanwhile, at the front, another change of opinion, or difference of opinion, I should say, with regards to the line into Spoon Corner, and the number 12 of Benedictus Masiokas up and ahead of Buddy Hugo and into 3rd place. So that was a great move there. How many times have we seen that, Henry? It seems to be a favourite place there, because I'm not sure what's happening up there as they come over the brow. They're not quite. They're having to either go on the inside, which allows people around the outside. If you go, I think the ideal line into Spoon is to take a very late apex, but you leave that door wide open.
Yeah, you know, it's the fastest way around, but it does leave you susceptible, which is why you see the drivers looking over their shoulders so much going up the straight now. So you can see this time Alfie Mare hasn't been allowed to pull away to the extent that he did in race number 1, with Rolf and Masiokas, you know, staying within striking distance. We're not quite within Daniel Ricciardo lick the stamp and send it range, but we're not far off, should anyone be that way inclined.
Yeah, Alfie Mare has been absolutely sublime on this lap, because 4 tenths of a second, and he's kind of been composed enough not to worry about the people behind him. And let's see what the gap is now. Then it was 4 tenths on the previous lap. It's almost 6, so he has pulled a little bit more. 2 tenths of a second looked like nothing on the track. Masiokas now on the rear bumper of Rolf, and Masiokas has come through the field. He's wanting to make it a zip 1-2, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's just set the fastest lap of the race. The only driver to dip under 49 seconds.
Yeah, he's on a charge.
If you're looking at, I mean, so far the best lap of all of the top, so look, 8 drivers are within 2 cents of a second, which is great news, you know, for the parity of the class and you know, the equality of the engine pack.
Great news for us, because it brings brilliant racing, and it comes down to absolutely thousands of a second here, and that's why we see these two. Now, you know what? Masiokas is being very clever here. We're going to get at least 2 more laps here.
Yep.
And Masiokas hasn't really mounted a challenge there on Rolf there, because he knows once he does that, that's going to let Mare just disappear even more so. So he's going to be very clever.
Literally pushing Rolf
onto the bumper of the leader.
Yes.
And that's exactly what he's done, Henry. He's worked with Rolf. Rolf's thinking the same. And I'm not sure if we've missed any sort of helmet tapping and gesticulation, but if anything, Rolf now challenging Alfie Mare going into these final 2 laps. Mare coming into our view there, into turn 7. Go through the devil's elbow now, through the left-hand bit, and then into the compression. You really do drop there, don't you? Yep.
And of course, the kart also is like, it's so light on they don't get all 4 wheels off the tarmac, but it becomes so light that, you know, it does sort of like wash the kart out wide. Now it's game on.
Yeah,
now they're defending, and everyone looking over their shoulder. So Rolf will try and cut up the inside going into Spoon Curve here, but
absolutely. You know what, Henry? They were absolutely on the limit of adhesion there. You could see, you know, they were almost lifting the inside front and rear wheels. That's how much grip they were carrying through there. There's no change then. Mare, Rolf and Masiokas, these are the 3 racing to the flag through turn 7 now, into the devil's elbow. That's the right, and then the very, very tight, almost coming back on yourself left, and then straight into the compression. They're out of that. It's a very technical part of the track here, but it's going to be Alfie Mare who will take the checkered flag first and takes the second heat in the Micromax class, Logan Rolfe finishes second, Benedictus Masiokas third, Buddy Hugo fourth, Elijah West was fifth, sixth was Jensen Walker, seventh Alfie Garrett, Diane Singh Pahal, ninth was Chloe McGill, and 10th, rounding off the top 10, was Lewis Kirkcaldy. And that rounds off our racing for day one of the second round of the Kart Championship from Glan and Gors. And Henry Baudet and I are going to be locked in a dark room so that we can prepare for tomorrow. Because if that is anything to go by,
yes,
we're not even at the important bit, are we?
No, business.
There's not even a trophy for that lot.
Business will pick up for sure tomorrow. What I've seen, I mean, okay, we take there was one outlier. The first junior road tax race was a little bit feisty, but I thoroughly impressed me. Excellent racing. Last corner passes for the race lead on several occasions. A lot of clean racing, a lot of respectful racing, and now we're going to go around and we're going to see a lot of smiles in the paddock as well.
Yes, so Henry and I are going to round off now. We'll see you back here at the same place, Karting Live TV. Find it from either our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. We'll be back with racing at 10 o'clock with our Super Heats. We've got 2 rounds of Super Heats before we go into a bit of a lunch break where you can then watch Henry and I making fools of ourselves in the paddock. And then we go into the all-important finals and points haul for round 2 of the Kart Championship. We bid you good night. Have a lovely evening this evening, and we'll see you in the morning. Thank you.